We're proud to bring you this live presentation on Racer TV of the 50th anniversary of the Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series, presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. 50 years of world premier off-road racing. 50 years of battling the gnarliest woods racing on the planet. It's time to start a new chapter. The next 50 years starts now.
GNCC is back on RacerTV.com, this time for Newburgh, West by God, Virginia, CJ Raceway, the Dunlop Motorcycles Buckwheat 100, and we have got a good one. Of course, it has been Kelly who sits atop the points standings, but it is the young gun, the playboy, Grant Davis, coming into it, second place in the points standings. They're going to be lining up on the same row. Some changes in the world of GNCC to close out the season, and we get to benefit from that by sitting front row right here on RacerTV.com. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing?
Look at that. That is a full XC1.
Is this a NASCAR race? I think if Johnny can maybe send it around the outside like he's trying to do there. Justo gets the overall win with an elapsed time of 3:10.04, edging out Stu Baylor by less than 3 seconds.
Racing dirt bikes, it's a lifestyle. It's something where every single choice you make sets you on the path to how you're going to succeed or perform. You live this every second of the day.
Stu hauling the mail.
Stu is one of the most gritty riders out there.
Johnny out front, Caleb pushing as hard as he can.
This is everything they have.
That was a battle.
That was a hell of a ride by both of those men.
Like he's got a cougar on the back of the bike.
Stu Baylor taking the inaugural Talladega GNCC win. Been doing a great job, extremely patient, extremely intelligent out there, even in the heat of battle, and it's paying off for him right now.
2 wins in a row for King Kelly.
Overall leader, Grant Davis, as well as your physical leader out on the course.
Checkers are records, and Grant Davis comes out on top. Your overall winner on corrected time and physically.
3 hours is a long time. 3 hours of racing is gnarly.
I know I can show up, and I know I can win on any given week.
50 years of racing the Grand National Cross Country Racing Series, a historical season in its own, a historical season on the two-wheel side. We are here at the Dunlop Motorcycle Tires Buckwheat 100. Johnny Gallagher, welcome back. The internationally known, by the way, Johnny Gallagher, welcome back to the States, man, and welcome home to GNCC.
It's good to be back. You know, obviously, awesome to have the opportunity to travel and be a part of some very historic motorcycle races. But nothing beats being back home here in Ohio, or in the States,
close.
And near Ohio, in West Virginia, and getting to see these riders do battle in the series that I grew up being a part of. So it's we know we're expecting some good battles here today, and a lot of these riders themselves also returning from the international competition in Italy. So a little jet lag maybe, but everybody's going to put their best foot forward and get out there and get it done.
Well, as we get into the last leg of this 2025 season, silly season as many of us call it, we got to go back to snowshoe. And Josh Toth having some success there, battles with Stu Baylor, Grant Davis, who's in that points battle with Ben. If you go back a couple of years, you're like, man, I think 11th in the 08, great day. That is not what Grant wants. That is not what he is seeking here in 2025.
Well, keep in mind, obviously, Ben, riding for him what would be a pretty conservative race for third overall there at Snowshoe.
Yep.
Grant was in a position looking like he was going to battle for the win. Some struggles late in the race, relegating him back to 11th place in the overall and a big point swing, leading to now a 7-point lead, which obviously not a huge points gap, but when you look at the way these two have been battling back and forth, and it's really come down to a game of inches, 7 points is one of the bigger gaps we've seen in quite some time in this 2025 series for the overall lead. Ben Kelly in a commanding position with that 7-point lead, but all that up for grabs here again today, and we know there's 30 points on the table.
That's it.
Josh Toth, like you mentioned, a big win, besting his team manager, boss, if you will, Stu Baylor, in what was an absolute drag race to the finish line. In my opinion, one of the closest GNCC finishes in history. They came across. We couldn't even call it. We had to wait until the official live timing and scoring checked in because it was fractions of a second.
That's as good as it gets right there. Well, hey, elephant in the room, right? We've talked about it really for 2 years now. The emergence of the XC2 and the competitiveness this year has been no different. The back and forth between Grant Davis, between Ben Kelly. Johnny, I'm going to lean on you, man, for the folks at home. We've read it on the article or the bulletin. We've bench raced it on social media. Give us the facts. How does it work from this race moving forward through the rest of the season as far as that front row is concerned?
So basically in the past, since the inception of the XC2 class, we've had the XC1 riders, everyone who signs up for that class, starting on row number 1. Then there's a time correction of roughly a minute. We've talked about this before. There is a stopwatch. There is calculated timing that tells exactly how many seconds that second row XC2 starts behind them. Well, it'll be the same format, but instead of being XC1 on the front row, XC2 on the second row, what we're going to have is your top 20 in points on row number 1, both combined XC1 and XC2. And then that second row will be the remainder of the XC1 and XC2 riders not in the top 20. The reason for this, it's been spitballed around amongst the team managers, the riders, people within the industry. The XC2 class has evolved to the point where it is an equal pro class, just on different size machines. It's no longer a class just for young kids. It's no longer a class for riders trying to make it. The majority of these riders in that class have factory rides, full training facilities, and all the resources that the XC1 riders have. So instead of kind of racing the clock, why not have them race each other? It's something that's going to be this way through at least the rest of 2025. We'll see how it goes, but it's going to be very exciting to see, will those XC2 riders that are in the top 20 overall, now starting on row 1, will we see them slot into the exact same positions where we've kind of seen them? We talked about it before the show, Mikey. We've got 3 XC2 riders in the top 5 overall, and that is your class leader, Grant Davis, second place Angus Riordan in that XC2 class, currently sitting in the third place spot overall.
Crazy.
And then Cody Barnes rounding out the top 5 overall from that XC2 class. So those are just 3 of the riders. There will be several more in that top 20 overall lining up on row 1. And now they're going to get an opportunity to bang bars right off the rip with some seasoned veterans. We know the speed's there. We're going to see how the racecraft goes when there's no time correction. I guess we could sit here and bench race about it, but I think I'd rather just let it play out on screen.
Watch it.
I really think the mission, whether you're Grant Davis, Ben Kelly, or anyone in that XC1 or XC2 class, the mission stays the same. You know, the kind of ground rules of engagement may change a little bit, so they might have to switch up their race strategy a little bit. But when it comes right down to it, Grant Davis is going to the starting line. He's made it very clear since before this season started, after he started reeling off overall wins here 1 year ago.
That's right.
You know, he made it very clear at the GNCC banquet. You and I have kind of told this story, more so his dad. But, you know, he was coming into 2025 wanting to race for an overall championship, not just XC1, not just race wins, but the overall championship. That goal for Grant Davis hasn't changed. That goal for Ben Kelly, for Stu Baylor, for all the rest of the XC1 riders hasn't changed. For Cody Barnes, Angus Riordan, the rest of the XC2 riders, the only thing that's changed is the order in which they line up and the order in which they start. Once that start happens, I think we're going to talk about it during the race. I think it may play a factor. But these guys are prepared for it. They've known about it, and it's all going to come out in the wash.
And we get the benefit from sitting back and watching it and talking about it. To his point, to echo that, it was here last year. Grant Davis picked up the win over Johnny Gerard by 2 seconds. Now he's on the even playing field out in row number 1. Johnny, I'm excited about this. I think we've said enough. Let's look at a track description. You good with that?
I think it's time to see what these guys are going to be facing out there today. With that, we're going to throw it to our man Jared Bolton, who's going to give us our Yamaha Racing track description.
Well, thanks, guys. Summer break's over, and we're back to GNCC Racing, and we're kicking it off here at the Buckwheat. Yeah, this was a new track for us about 5 years ago, but it's got a long history, had lots of local races here over the years, and you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say there's a little something for everyone, but that's really true here at the Buckwheat. You got some really fast field sections, you got some fast wood sections, and you got some tight wood sections, and when you get on the backside of the property, it gets a little rocky, a little more technical, so there truly is something for everyone out there. Now, the other thing about this place is the dirt. It's a really unique mix. You know, when you think of West Virginia, you think rock, but when you come to the Buckwheat, it's not super rocky. Like I said, there's a one section that gets a little rocky and technical on the other side, but by and far, this is actually some of the best dirt you're ever going to find in West Virginia, and you can even find a little bit of sand at this place, which seems absolutely crazy, but you get a little bit of sand mixed in that clay, and guess what? You got some primo conditions here at the Buckwheat. It's going to be a great weekend of racing. Can't wait to see it all unfold, and it's great to be back to GNCC. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Jared. Now that we've seen it what these riders are going to face out there today, we're going to head everybody down to the starting line. We're going to line them up, and we're going to get ready to go racing. We're going to let our man Mikey Waynes head down, do some 10-second calls, and we're going to bring you all 3 hours of racing action live on Racer TV.
everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call tonight. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda tires, delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles: automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready. And a good afternoon and welcome to everybody watching at home on RacerTV.com as you tune in here to round number 10, the Buckwheat, the Dunlop Tires Buckwheat 100. We are about to introduce row number 1. Riders representing the top 20 in points coming into today. So as a shout out to our buddy Don Hampton, without further ado, rolling to the line in accordance to points, the number 530 out of Connecticut, riding aboard the FMF Factory Racing KTM, Ben Kelly. Rolling to the line, second in points coming into today, the 922 out of Pennsylvania, riding aboard the FMF Factory Racing Landers KTM, the Playboy Grant Davis. Up next, the number 35 out of Australia, riding aboard the FMF Factory Racing Landers KTM, Angus Reardon. Rolling to the line next, the 514 out of Hodges, South Carolina, riding aboard the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Racing Team Green Kawasaki, Stu Baylor. Up next, the 990 out of Sterling, Illinois, riding aboard the Phoenix Racing Honda, Cody Barnes. Up next, the 198 out of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, riding aboard the Am-Pro Yamaha, Liam Draper. Up next, the 557 out of Boonville, North Carolina, riding aboard the Am-Pro Yamaha, Caleb Russell. Up next, the 342 out of Waynesburg, Pennsylvania, riding aboard the Rockstar Energy Factory Racing Husqvarna, Craig DeLong. Up next, the number 8 out of North Carolina, riding aboard the Phoenix Racing Honda, Mike Wachowski. The number 3 out of Livingston, Tennessee, riding aboard the Flat Rock Motor Club Factory Racing Gas, Jordan Ashburn. Up next, the number 7 out of Denver, North Carolina, riding aboard the Liqui Moly Factory Beta, Josh Strang. Up next, the 246 out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, riding aboard the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Racing Team Green Kawasaki, T-Rex Nick DeFeo. Up next, the 235 out of Landrum, South Carolina, on the Rocket Racing Bone Cutter Off-Road Backed Honda, Brody Johnson. Up next, the 212 out of Duval, Washington, riding aboard the Enduro Engineering Triumph, the rough and rowdy Ricky Russell. And last but certainly not least, the 314 out of South Carolina, riding aboard the Rocky Mountain Red Bear Racing Team Green Kawasaki, the Grizzly, Grant Baylor. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your top riders in accordance to points coming into today. Of course, the change to how row number 1 and row number 2 work. We talked a little bit about it in the pre-show with Johnny Gallagher. We'll touch on it more this afternoon in the Racer TV broadcast, but this is the mano-a-mano battle amongst the who's who in the top 20 for these last 4 rounds of racing. DJ Judd has exited the mobile entertainment activation transport, jumps in the Yamaha RMAX 1000, and this is where we like to say, DJ Judd, remove the meat.
And as DJ Judd removes the mobile entertainment activation transport, all eyes will fixate high in turn number 1. Ricky Towery again on the outside of turn number 1 as he steps forward just in between the break of the Yamaha Racing repeater banner. And Ricky Towery lets our riders know 1 minute! 1 minute! Until we're ready to go. Buckwheat 100 GNCC Racing. As Ricky now looks down at his watch, keeps an eye on the time. Takes a big deep breath. And there it is. Blue flag waves, blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. As we are just about ready to roll now, and I gotta ask you, West by God, Virginia, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Oh, that's pretty good, but it's been a long summer break. We're finally back together. You gotta get loud, you gotta get proud. I'm gonna ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds for row number 1, your top 20. Bang, and we're off. Landers KTM Whole Shot Award up for grabs. It is Ben Kelly out in front. Ben Kelly takes the Whole Shot Award for Landers KTM, representing the XC1, and it was Grant Davis taking the Landers KTM Whole Shot Award for the XC2 as we turn our attention now to row number 2. Thad Duvall, Evan Smith, Ryder Lafferty, Jack Walker, Hunter Bush, Toby Cleveland, Michael DeLosa, Jason Tino, Kenneth Hell, Dakota DeVore, Jonathan Johnson, Jesse Ansley, Zachary Davidson, Leighton Small, Jason Liscombe, Trevor Maley, Brandon Georgie, Dominic Morse, Mason Simmons, waiting on the signal from Ricky Towery. 10 seconds. Bang, and we're off. The 707. Jason Liscombe out in front. Oh, a little tab right there, and that's going to go. The 719. That's Jack Walker leading the way for row number 2. As we turn our attention now to the XC3, 1 to 10 seconds. XC3 125 Pro-Am. Isaiah Brown, Rayleigh Messer, James Jenkins, Corey Revels, Jason Crawford, Jonathan Johnson. LoJack Cycle Sales Whole Shot Award up for grabs in the XC2. And that is going to be the 222 of Isaiah Brown out of Ohio. Grabbing that whole shot. And early lead right there. Row number 4, 10 seconds. 250A, Colton Shields, Cooper Jones, Ryan Piper, Gavin Simon, Chase Landers, Will Siebenpiper, Caleb Baltimore, Michael DeLosa, Lane Whitmer, Hunter Smith, and Joe Cunningham. Cunningham goes wide around the outside. And the whole shot, 950, Hunter Smith out of Gainesville, Texas. On that Bone Cutter and Moose Racing back ride is going to grab that whole shot in early lead. 10 seconds. Open A, Kiefer Galliano, Van Adams, Michael Meyer, TJ Brown, Trevor Hewlin, Mitchell Owenby, Alex Luger, Ranger Emmons, Meatball, Jacob McPherson, Cole Whitmer, Keenan Ruppman, Hayden Jones. 60 Van Adams out of Morgantown, Indiana on that Westfield Power Sports Fly Racing and Bellray back ride. We'll grab that whole shot. 10 seconds. 4-stroke A lights. Joshua Connor, Logan Pellegrini, Brady Beerbaum, Bryce Woodrum, Braden Baisley, Ethan Harwell, Huck Jenkins, Lane Smith, Ryan Amancio, Wade Tucker, Brody Amos, Caleb Wood, Briar Menace, Jigs Fustini, and the 225 of Ethan Harwell grabs that whole shot and early lead up and around turn number 3. 158, 10 seconds. Colby Goodman, Jack Whalen, Davin Scheidt, Gabriel Jimenez, Jacob Service, Ryder Segedy, Cade Stats, Arson Bonner, Joe Shriver, and Braden Hashman. Jockey for position through turn number 1. Little dab right there. It's 3-1 on the machine, and the man looked like 281 or 218. That might have been Davin Scheidt right there. Couldn't quite get my eyes on the helmet sticker. Junior, 10 seconds. Junior A, 25 plus. Russell Smith, Justin Murphy, Tyler Braniff, Luke Ross, Deshaun Horton, Joshua Tech, Aaron Higgins, Corey Jordan, Jeremiah Gregory, Andrew Boggs, and Braden Moore. 5-3-7. No doubt about that one. Joshua Tech out of West Mifflin, Pennsylvania. On the gas, getting it done as the 2.55. Russell Smith got his work cut out for him early in this one. 10 seconds. Vet A, 30 plus. Michael Jarosco, Danny Hall, Jesse Kidlow, Charles Hugel, Gregory Funk, and Gerardis Melo. Duking it out. Oh, good dab. Nice save right there by the 145. That's Michael Jarosco on the Kawasaki out of Almost Heaven, West Virginia. Grabs that whole shot. Senior A, 40 plus. 10 seconds. Smiling. Frank Messina, Pete Pedruti, Fernando Pino, Joe Marsh, Mislano Batista, David Garsk, Joel Grover, Jared Hoffman, James Bauer, Tom Truxell, Darren Darmos, and James Singer. Whole shot. That's going to go to the 365 of Jared Hoffman out of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania on that RSR suspension and team library back ride. Seconds. Open B. Nate Garrison, Cody Harding, Blake Freiberger, William Boggs, Hunter Richards, Keegan Storms, Mark Cole, Cohen Bunch, Davey Souza, Colton Painter, Jamison Bulliard, and Logan Reniger. 9:02. That's Logan Reniger. Scholes MX back to Kawasaki. Grabbing the whole shot right there. 250B. Wait on the signal. Had a couple of riders get tangled up in that second turn. Off and rolling. We got the okay. And here we go. 10 seconds. 250B. Devin Moore, Lennox Riley, Christian McCauley, Brandon Bailey, Holden Brendlinger, Brandon Slotzer, Michael Sturt, Dylan McDonald, Colin Hill, Gabriel Davis, Philip Likens, Tyler Irvin, and Mason Sakanikis. Oh, a couple of riders down in the first turn. 6:04. That's Tyler Irvin out of Huntersville, North Carolina on the Honda. Able to grab that whole shot. And our two riders that got tangled up in the first turn, well, almost back up and rolling. Wait on the signal here from Ricky Towery. Everybody through turn number 2. And here we go. 10 seconds. 150B. Nico Pursuti, Colton McQuarrie, Timothy Bridlinger, Levi Wilkins, Charlie Simpson, Isaac Leitner, Jay Potter, and Julian Loy. Here we go. A little wide on the outside. 4:08. That's going to be Levi Wilkins out of Pride, Louisiana on the MX Tech Pro Suspension and Fast Lap backed Gas. 10 seconds. 4-stroke B lights. Joseph Shalot, Carlo Clary, Colton Barber, Brooks Bully, Ryan Glassmeyer, Hunter Carey, Matt Gray, Owen James, Kid Norris, Preston Horton, and Spencer Knight. 215 out in front, side by side with a 334, and it's going to be the 215 of Joseph Shalot out of Uniontown, Pennsylvania on that Mika Metals, O'Neill, and Dunlop motorcycle tires. Ride, getting it done early. 10 seconds. Junior B, 25 plus. Judson Bogus, Zachary Angelo, Ryan Bierman, Austin Velasca, Aaron Waldrop, Dylan Kinsell, Zach Weaver, Walker Hashman, and Billy Saliga. Oh, look at that, right up the gut. 925 wants it, and the 925 will get it. That's Billy Saliga out of Smock, Pennsylvania on the KTM. Grabbing that whole shot. Set B 30 plus coming up next in 10 seconds. Cody Childers, James Bullen, Nick Lobby, John King, Devin Hall, Andrew Tinker, Joseph Ward, Leroy Petrie, Matthew Sason, William Schumacher, Dylan Davis, and Dustin Stanley. Oh, man, that one might have been too close to call. 3 riders in it. Oh, and a big pile up in the second turn. The bike's tangled up. Finally get them untangled. Everybody back up on 2 wheels. Senior B, 40 plus. Here we go. 10 seconds. Larry Hopper, Brandon Black, Aaron McAfee, Adam Baker, Chris Hart, Jason Cottrell, and Jeremy Nance. Looks like everybody's off the starting line. Here we go. Into the first turn we go. Senior B, 40 plus, 469. We'll grab that whole shot. That's Chris Hart out of Irwin, North Carolina. Getting it done early, and that is going to wrap things up for us for a moment. We're going to take a short break, get in a word from our sponsors, and be back with more from the Dunlop Motorcycle Tires Buckwheat 100 right after this.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 50th Annual Progressive Insurance Grand National Cross Country Racing Series. This is round number 10, the 2025 Dunlop Buckwheat 100. My name is Jackson Burrell. I'm going to be alongside Zach Heron, Johnny G, and, of course, Mikey Waynes, who you already heard from, to bring you today's racing coverage. Zach, it's good to be back here in Newburgh, West Virginia. Good to be back GNCC racing after that long summer break.
Man, absolutely, yeah. It depends on who you talk to. Not a whole lot of breaks for a lot of these people, just going back to work. But absolutely, so good to be back GNCC racing, and you can see that in the way these riders have been racing all weekend long. The excitement is there, the intensity is there, and everybody knows they need to come out swinging for these final four. But one of the most exciting things about here at round 10 is the new start procedure that we have here for today. Our top 20 all going to be on row number 1. It's really going to be exciting. There's been a lot of questions as to how this was going to shake things up, and we want to show you guys exactly how things got kicked off with our specialized start recap. So take a look right here. Like we said, your entire top 20 XC1 and XC2 riders all on that starting row. And there was some controversy about who's going to come out on top, how it's going to play out, the different bike sizes. We've seen a lot of mixing between the XC1 and the XC2 field. But when the green flag flew, a great jump from Liam Draper, but it was up the inside. Ben Kelly and Grant Davis looked like they were going to go toe-to-toe. Craig DeLong looking very feisty as well. He'd actually make a move around the outside of Grant Davis. But continue to watch those top three. Ben Kelly, smooth, clean out front. Grant Davis trying to make some quick, aggressive moves. Little too hard on the throttle, lost traction, and wound up going down and letting the entire field by. That's a lot of XC1 and XC2 riders. But watch this. As he heads back into the woods, drone gets ready to fly away. We actually see Grant stop real quick to adjust those bars. Got a little twisted up as he was exiting turn 3, and that's going to cost him big time. Or will it? That's the question. Now back to row 2, the rest of that field. Couple of XC1 and XC2 riders. Jack Walker, a little bit of spin off the line, but a great drive. Closes that door and is going to grab that hole shot there for row number 2. Looks like that might be Duval there just behind him. Ryder Lafferty in the mix as well. Toby Cleveland not having the jump off the line that he needed. He's going to get up into that fight, and then that's Jason Lipscomb right there on the 707 as well. But it was going to be Jack Walker leading that second row into the woods. And then we dropped to that FMF XC3 125 Pro-Am class. It was a battle of the Jenkins. James Jenkins up the inside. Drag race to the line. Who's going to get it? I'm still not sure who they credit it to. I think Huck wound up getting it by about a knobby, but James able to sneak around the outside and take control of the lead for that XC3 class as they headed off into the woods. So a lot of question marks, a lot of excitement coming into this, and we'll tell you guys exactly how things shape up. We see our pylon there on the side of the course. Another short opening lap here for the two-wheel side of things as well. And like we said, the mix-up there for row number 1, really going to make things exciting right from the jump.
Yeah, no doubt about it. On the left side of your screen there, you're going to see the points here for the 2025 season so far. Of course, Ben Kelly leading the way, and then our XC2 boys, Grant Davis and Angus Reardon, going to be right there in that second and third place for the points. Ben Kelly knew what was on the line. He was able to get out front, and I'm sure he's going to try to run away and hide with this one.
Yeah, absolutely, knowing that he's got that little points lead coming into this weekend, but for what would be a big points lead this season, obviously doing all he can to try to extend that a little further. We're taking a look here at our Yamaha Racing track map, showing this Buckwheat 100 facility here at CJ Raceway, and man, it's been a big change in conditions for here today. Obviously, yesterday we had that spitting rain. We had some rain Thursday night, some more rain on Friday. Today, it's dry. We did have a little bit of rain last night, but honestly, it was almost just like a water truck out there kind of grooming things. The woods are in great condition. The fields are in phenomenal condition, and it's going to provide a great surface for these guys to do battle on for 3 hours out here today. We're waiting. We're watching for our leaders to come by. Did check in. We do know this is a little bit different setup with the short first lap, and we do see it now. The 5:14 is Stu Baylor out front, followed closely by the 5:30 of Ben Kelly. Then it is the 3:42 of Craig DeLong, the 5:57 of Caleb Russell, Jordan Ashburn there on that flat rock gas cast. Liam Draper with a little different line around the outside. Grant Baylor, Josh Strang, and then it is Ricky Russell. There's Grant Davis and Gus Reardon, wheel to wheel. And then it is Cody Barnes, Mike Witkowski, Brody Johnson, and Nick DeFeo rounding out that top running order there. And guys, if you're watching at home, I started to mention they've already completed a lap on live timing and scoring. For right now, let's disregard that. We may have a little technical difficulty there, and I think it has the time correction incorrect. Okay, I'm told it is updated. I'm trying to update here on our monitor, and it is. So the running order that you saw on screen now more closely reflecting what we are showing in our online live timing and scoring. There was a little glitch there. It is updated 4 miles in, and man, look at this. They have already opened up a pretty substantial lead over that row 2 there.
Yeah, they sure have, and this could really change the whole way of GNCC racing as we, I believe, see Toby Cleveland here. One question, the reason I have my hand up there, Johnny, did we see Craig DeLong come through that shot?
Yes,
we did. Okay.
Craig was sitting there in the number 3 spot. Here we see our row 2. There's Jack Walker. It was actually Toby Cleveland out front. And now here comes the 989 of Thad Duvall. Was doing battle, had gotten himself up into second position from that row 2 start. Again, he will receive the benefit of that time correction throughout the race, and at the end of the race that will update the positions, but needs to get a move on if he wants to take advantage of that. And home state West Virginia boy, looking to put in a good ride here today for sure.
Well, I know we were sitting there talking to Jacoby Duvall side of the start. He has asked who's going to win. He said Dad's going to take it. So we'll see. He's obviously got some fans in his corner. But back to the lead group we go. Another one of those darker sections. We saw this yesterday as well. Some bright open field sections and some dark sections out here as well with that thick canopy cover.
Yeah, and this is actually that we were at the 4 mile marker. They're now jumped back to the 3. These are some of our A and B class riders coming through. But, Zach, great catch there. We talked about yesterday how really different this track is in terms of visibility. The dirt surface is kind of consistent throughout. It's not awesome, but the visibility goes from, bright sunny day today, yesterday a little overcast, but in the woods, even with the bright sunshine today, still very, very dark, the canopy very thick, not letting a lot of light through. So goggle selection for today, what lenses they chose. Some of the guys will run some amplifier lenses to be able to see a little better. Definitely going to come into play during this 180 minutes of racing this afternoon.
Yeah, and as quick as they're going to enter and exit some of these sections, not going to quite have time for those eyes to dilate and adjust to these sections, so that's going to make it very hard on them. But talk about the track. I mentioned talking about those start rows just a little bit. We don't know how this is going to shake things up, really. We don't know if this is going to be a huge change or if they're going to kind of shuffle in where they have been all season long. But from the looks of it right now, it is going to make a big change. Right now, Stu Baylor out front, and I believe we actually got to talk to him about some of those start rows and what he had to think about it.
I'll be honest, as far as the row change, that's one thing to me. Like, I think it'll be cool. I hope it'll be cool at least. I've kind of always been an advocate to pushing the XC2 guys up, getting them in XC1. So I think maybe it'll show some of these guys that, hey, they have the skill to ride with us. Like, there's some career XC2 guys out there, and I think they're good enough to ride our pace. They just haven't been put into it. Obviously, we know there's a few that are. The Grant Davis, Cody Barnes, like Gus Reardon, those guys have spent a lot of times battling with us. But overall, I think it's going to create some good battles on TV. I think you guys will have a fun time calling it in the booth, and we'll have a headache on the track. We'll be pulling our hair out trying to get around people. Yeah, overall, I don't think it's going to change. Too much. I think it's going to be a lot of battling early on, or a lot of you can be able to throw a blanket over us for the majority of this race. I wouldn't be shocked if you saw less than a 15-second gap after 3 hours of racing for the top 5 or 6. My take on things, and a lot of that is because of the course. But putting the extra fast guys up with us, I think it's going to be hard to shake those guys. 250s are going to get better starts than 450s historically. It's gonna change things up. It'll be interesting and fun to see from the production side. You guys will have a great time. On the race side, I think we'll be pulling our hair out. But for the fans back at home, I think it's going to be something that might be a hot take moving forward.
I don't know how you say it much better than that. That hit the nail on the head. And
well, Stu knows what's good for us isn't always necessarily the favorite for the racers, but Stu making the most of it right now. He is out front leading the way, and Ben Kelly grabbing that whole shot out of row number 1 as well. We were able to catch up with Ben and get his thoughts on the new start rule as well.
for sure. It's cool. It was cool that GNCC reached out to me earlier this summer and asked me my opinion. I guess I'm assuming seeing how, like, you know, I'm in the championship hunt, and to change a rule halfway through the year might seem strange to a lot of people, but you know, either way, I said I was cool with it. I'm not opposed to trying it out, so we're doing it this weekend, and yeah, I'm excited for it. I've said it in the past, I would rather race him head to head than race the ghost of him behind me. So I think it's good. I mean, it'll be good for, I think, the fans, for the racers, kind of for everybody. Just be closer racing between everybody, which will be tough because this is a track that seems to be hard to make passes, where it's just like everyone is kind of the same speed here. I mean, it's a technical track, but for some reason it seems like everyone rides pretty good here and is really close in speed, so it just makes for, like, you know, close racing usually, where it's, you know, 1 through 10 in the XC1 class is wheel to wheel for the whole race. So now it'll probably be like that 1 through 20 with top 20 in the points. Yeah, I'm excited for it. Just excited to be back racing and try to finish out the season strong.
And we are excited for it as well. Excited to be back racing. And here we go. Stu Baylor on screen now. Your leader here in this one. And there goes Ben Kelly. There's Craig DeLong.
I think that was actually
not Ben Kelly.
Yeah,
yep.
And
I think that was DeLong, Draper.
There's Ashburn, there's Draper, there's Grant Baylor.
Strang.
Hard to tell Davis
and
and Reardon apart because they're in the same gear on the same bike. There's Brody Johnson. There's Mike Witkowski. There's Ricky Russell on that Factory Triumph. And then Nick DeFeo still in touch with the leaders. Man, that's interesting to see Stu Baylor out front. A rider that normally we see not getting good starts and having to kind of work his way. Oh, look at this. Now we see a shakeup. So we want to talk about running order and how we normally see things. We normally see a lot of green towards the top. So we see red all the way through the top 8. And then 9th place, Hunter Smith from our, I believe, 250A class. Running up there in 9th place. Now, mind you, that was a short lap. It was only about 9 minutes is what it took those guys to complete that first quote-unquote lap of racing. It is a partial lap. And then Lane Whitmer, JoJo Cunningham, also Piper, Whitmer, and Jenkins, all top amateur riders inside the top 20 overall. So maybe now the big advantage goes back a few rows further back now that they've kind of leveled out the playing field for the front 2 rows. Interesting to see for sure.
Well, and this is some of those question marks that we talked about. We've seen XC1 and XC2, the battle, the intensity. We know that that's there. But how is that going to affect the rest of the field, as well as what our overall picture looks like? Is here we see our leader, Stu Baylor, getting a little airtime there, making his way through this coal section. That was Jet Lawrence-esque there, jumping the braking bumps as Ben Kelly and still Craig DeLong 1, 2, and 3. But Stu Baylor looking like he's trying to get away early. Johnny, got to think, we had the announcement made about these new start procedures early in the summer. Do we think this changes the approach that these XC1 riders take? We talked about the difference between the way they start these first laps. We've had to kind of adjust throughout the 2025 season, but now that everybody's on the same road, do we think we're going to naturally start to see a bit more of intensity from the jump for these XC1 riders?
Well, I think actually the XC2 riders are likely to affect that a lot moving forward, given that they're the riders that are a little younger, a little more aggressive, kind of off the rip. Whereas, you know, the XC1 guys take a little bit more time to kind of get into a rhythm. It seems like when you watch these races, that's how it plays out. But I think one of the big points we need to touch on today is the course. Stu Baylor mentioned it twice in his interview, talking about, he didn't mention this, but we've talked about this here before at the Buckwheat 100. This course almost has a speed limit. There's very, very limited grip, especially on 2 wheels. So you got, I mean, we saw Grant Davis down in turn number 3, just a little heavy on the throttle, trying to, you know, hold off Caleb Russell coming around the outside, and the next thing you know, the back end comes around on him. Bars are twisted, he's on the ground, and now he's a little further back in the pack than surely he'd like to be. So I think maybe that's kind of what we're seeing right now as far as how closely these guys are running together. And Stu pointing out, wouldn't be crazy to see a big train of riders battling even down to the finish line. Throw it back to last year, you know, it was exactly that. You know, Grant Davis was on a charge. He ended up winning the overall uncorrected time over Johnny, but just behind them, that battle for the top 3 and the top 5, there was 6, 7, 8 riders in the final corners, you know, dicing inside, outside, and making passes. Again, the limited grip here and the layout of this track lends itself to very, very close racing.
It sure does. And as we take a look here at that pylon on the left side of your screen, those XC2 riders getting a little dose of their own medicine from those A classes. So already seeing that time correction come into play against the XC2 rider, something that we're not quite used to seeing. So very, very interesting day here.
It would be easy to jump up right now and say, oh, well, look, they did this, put these guys on the front row, and this is a big change. We don't see the XC2 guys kind of overrunning the top 5, top 3, or in many cases, we've seen 6 or 7 of them in the top 10 early in the race. That said, we can't take scientific data away from such a limited supply of information. I think we do have some extenuating factors here, but it is interesting fodder to see, the top 8 all XC1 riders when they started on the front row, at least again for that short lap. How will it shake out in a full lap of racing plus that few miles? We're going to find out here in just about probably another 8-9 minutes when they come in to complete what will be a full lap of racing plus the partial as they work their way now into the pro pits for the first time.
Leaders on screen from our Yamaha Racing live drone, seeing Stu Baylor enter into our pit area. And he is still going to be steadily out in front. The KTM machine just behind him there. Not quite in striking distance. I'm sure the boys trying to settle in and get this one underway.
Man, like what I'm seeing out of Craig DeLong here after the summer break. We talked about kind of the resurgence of excitement and intensity, and it seems like he's put in the work over summer and he's ready to come out swinging here for these final 4 rounds.
Yeah, he has. I was just with him last weekend, actually, day in the dirt. Craig able to get the big win against everybody there, including a few of his fellow GNCC XC1 competitors. So no break for him. He's been hard at it, of course, doing those fuel camps that we saw the clips of as well. So these guys, they've not stopped. I'm sure they are fired up to be back out here GNCC racing.
I tell you what, I was a little envious of you guys getting to do the day in the dirt. It looked like a really fun event, and so many of the top riders they're doing battle and mixed in stars like Carson Brown and so many other riders that were there. Just really, Thad Duvall looked like he had a great time, great fun family weekend. If you get the opportunity next year, make sure you come check it out. And now we see our leaders back here at the 9-mile marker. Grant Baylor putting in a charge. He is right up in there in the mix with Liam Draper just ahead of him. And again, they're working their way through. There's Josh Strang, and there is your first XC2 rider. Now Davis has made the pass on Reardon, and Cody Barnes in tow. So the top 3 in your XC2 class, along with Brody Johnson just behind them. Then it's Wachowski and Nick DeFeo T-Rex. And it looks like, tell you what, Toby Cleveland was putting in a heck of a push last time I saw him. So Ricky Russell has dropped back now to the tail end of that row 1 mix of XC1 and XC2 riders. But Cleveland looked like he was on a charge and actually maybe even making up ground on row 1 in that last camera shot. So we'll keep an eye on that.
If you remember, he was the last rider into the woods off of that second row as well. So making some quick moves through his fellow road mates, and then now trying to catch up to that big 20-rider freight train. And right on cue, there he is, Toby Cleveland.
And again, I don't know that he made up any ground from our last camera shot, but he definitely appears to be holding his own and not losing any more ground. Wouldn't be surprised to see him bump up into or very near the top 10 overall. Currently showing not even on the board at the completion of lap number 1. Then it's Jack Walker, another one of our XC2 riders. So right now the XC2 guys kind of controlling row 2, maybe a little more comfortable position for them. Then it is Thad Duvall, and just in front of him was Ryder Lafferty on that 336 Honda. So that is the top 4 from row number 2 working their way through. Won't know the time correction until we actually get the computer to do it for us here in a couple minutes when they complete what will show on the live timing and scoring as 2 laps complete.
Hey, speaking of surprises, no surprise, Barnes and Reardon have found their way to each other, something that we are very used to here this season. So going to be interested to see if Barnes is able to make that move, because he has caught up and got himself there. But for now, on screen is your leader, Stu Baylor.
Oh, great line there from Stu, using that bank to jump up over those roots. And see now Craig DeLong kind of fighting his way up that rooty section, has actually gotten around Ben Kelly. Caleb Russell there, then it's Jordan Ashburn, then it's Liam Draper, and then Grant Baylor, and they are starting to open up just a slight amount of distance over Grant Davis, Josh Strang. So Davis now around Strang, Reardon still behind him there, and then it is Barnes, Johnson, and Wachowski.
Man, that was about perfectly timed for Stu Baylor. He hit that line just before Ben Kelly could see it. Him and Craig DeLong both wind up taking maybe a 1/10 of a second or so slower, but he was just far enough out to where they didn't quite pick up on that hot line.
And I really think that's where Stu tends to shine, being, his national enduro heritage, kind of blazing trail. Granted, this track has already beat in. That same section was run yesterday for our afternoon race, and then also Actually, I think it was run for the morning race as well yesterday, but it's been run for several races, including even our morning race this morning. But Stu finding a line that, as yet, none of the motorcycles have used. Again, climbing up that bank, using it to jump over, find some smooth running room, and good grip to move forward. I'm sure we'll have plenty of time to discuss, but one thing it's just habit for me now on the starting line, walking down, looking at the tire.
I was just about to ask.
Is it going to be the Scoop? Is it going to be the 91? Is it going to be a couple guys on the 81? So we're going to see how that kind of all comes into play. As, again, we talked about very, very limited grip. And yesterday, the riders, we heard the post-race interviews. I was going along, thought everything was great, and then I was backwards, or I was off the trail. So very, very slick. And even without the rain here today, it is definitely still very tough to find traction on this Buckwheat 100 racing surface.
So watching, that was Caleb Russell, the first of the two Ampros. And look at that. Yeah, the boy's starting to.
Grant Davis, once he got around there, and now the second two riders in XC2 have also gotten around Josh Strang there. So both Reardon and Barnes have now gotten around and are in pursuit of the big green number 1 of Grant Davis.
Just going to wait for your leaders to pop out of the woods here. Back to the Yamaha Racing live drone. As conditions looking great here on Sunday. And Jackson, talk about some great racing. We got to talk about that WXC race that we had a little bit earlier as well. Those top 4 flip-flopping positions. Brandy Richards staying 1.3 seconds for what? 3 laps in a row?
Laps.
Like, absolutely incredible. Those ladies put on a show for us. Corey Steed walking away victorious from that. Was not aware of it. When she crossed the line, I was a little disappointed. I thought we'd get a rev. Then you watch the team tell her, and she was absolutely ecstatic. So a great race from all of those ladies out there in the WXC.
Yeah, that was a barn burner, and this is shaping up to be a barn burner right here as we see Baylor making his way through, and now DeLong has been able to make that move. Craig DeLong going to be our new second place. That's going to put Ben Kelly back in that third place spot.
Man, I like the flow that I'm seeing from Stu here today.
Stu is looking confident, smooth, and he has got some good lines right now.
And he is hop, skipping, and jumping, choosing to find the smooth way around this course.
All the rest still in the same order as we last saw them. The big change, Grant Davis has made up that small gap of just a few seconds and is now right to the rear wheel of Grant Baylor ahead of it. Weird to see two Baylors running this far up this early in the race. Normally they're riders that get stronger as the race goes on, kind of fight their way up in, and, being now completing 2 laps here in just a matter of about another mile here, man, if they're able to be in the mix on lap number 1 and 2, that may not be good news for their competition because, again, they do have a tendency to get faster in that third hour specifically.
Well, what else is curious is not really surprising to see Grant Davis up this far by lap 1, but now no time adjustment. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. He's going to have to get to the front of the field. And like you said, some of these other riders, Grant Baylor, one that sticks out to me, just seems to get stronger as the minutes wear on and on.
And I think the big difference for Grant Davis, right now he can see these guys, and you can see it looks like Liam Draper is starting to get a little impatient, and he is starting to put some pressure on Jordan Ashburn, which has in turn pushed him up to the rear wheel of Caleb Russell, who's right behind Ben Kelly. And look at this, they are side by side now, and it looks like Draper makes the pass on the inside of Jordan Ashburn, and now we see Davis, who's kind of used to already being, look at this. Ashburn back around the outside, but no, Liam Draper closes the door, and now it's a 3-rider battle over that number 4 spot with Caleb Russell, Liam Draper, and Jordan Ashburn. But Davis right now, familiar position for him, but he's a student of the game. He understands he no longer has that time advantage. And the biggest difference for me, in my mind, can't speak for these guys, but I feel like these guys are going to race Grant a lot harder now, knowing that they're actually physically racing him for position on the racetrack. When you have a rider that starts somewhere between 45 seconds and a minute behind you, catches you early in the race, it's actually to your benefit to just allow them to pass you, try to latch onto their pace, follow their lines. That's not going to happen today. These guys are going to say, hey, bud, you started on the same row I did. There's a reason why you're behind me. And not just Grant. All of the XC2 riders, they don't care what color that number plate is. They're going to fight those guys tooth and nail, and it's going to be a dogfight to try to hang on to those positions because there's no longer a time adjustment.
Well, and we've talked about kind of the change in mentality with that as well, as the XC2 riders have more and more consistently been overall podium threats. These guys have talked about, hey, I've got to kind of change the way I feel about things, change the way I look at these XC2 riders, and got to kind of treat them just like one of my fellow XC1 competitors. Now that everybody's on the same start row, like you said, all bets are off. It's all fair game.
Here we go. Stu Baylor back on screen here. Stuart Baylor Jr., I should say, leading the way And Craig DeLong, he is steadily in that second place spot. It looks like DeLong able to close that gap up just a bit. Ben Kelly still there with Russell in that fourth place spot, but that's where the mixing is going to be happening for that fifth place position, and Jordan Ashburn going to overtake that spot.
And Grant Davis also overtakes in the Battle of the Grants. He gets around Grant Baylor there, but I saw that line coming from Jordan Ashburn. So much patience on that off camber where everybody else was kind of pushing wide, trying to find grip. Ashburn checked up way early, pivoted the machine, got on the gas, and got the drive to repass Liam Draper, who just passed him in our previous camera shot. So that is an absolute battle right there.
Meanwhile, Caleb Russell has no idea all the chaos going on behind him, but he knows something's there now.
He sees that red fender. He knows it's a gas or a Honda. He doesn't know who it belongs to, but there we see Grant Davis again putting the pressure on. He has now gotten around Grant Baylor, but again, all these riders, you could really just about throw a blanket over them. So updating our running order on screen there, you see Grant Davis jumps up to the number 7 spot with Reardon and Barnes 9th and 10th, so 3 XC2 riders now inside the top 10. We do have to wait for our A riders to check in. We see them all kind of dropping down to the tail end of the top 20, being as those are the only riders on the screen that have not yet checked in with a second full lap of complete. But look at that. See, right in that section there, it looked like Craig DeLong had gotten right to the rear wheel of Stu Baylor and was starting to apply some pressure.
Yeah, he sure has. Craig DeLong is definitely going to be right there with him now.
You would definitely say that Craig DeLong and Liam Draper both consider this a home race. They're from Greene County, Pennsylvania, or that's where they live and ride and train. But I know they are pretty close with the landowner here, Corey Jennings. They come down here and ride, not necessarily this track, but they ride the property around here. They are familiar with the dirt, and, you know, heck, they could have, if they wanted to, gone home and slept in their own beds. I think they both did stay here in campers last night, but definitely feels like just another day of riding, you know, training during the week for those two. So definitely maybe a little bit of an advantage for those guys here in this race today.
Well, and you can speak on this as well, Johnny. There's just a level of comfort and familiarity being on a property that you've been on multiple times, especially on weekends that aren't race weekends. A lot of these guys, it's repetitive stops. They've been to these properties multiple times, but something about just being in the home environment, dirt you're comfortable with, maybe able to predict what the bike's going to do just a bit more, plays to their advantage.
Sure. I mean, your kind of mindset and your setup, as you said, you know, you nailed it. When you know what the bike's going to do, there's no real surprises. This is a very unique dirt here. It's a mix of a very, very hard pan clay, but it has color to it. Normally, when we have hard packed slick, like you can see where it's polished off, and you can see that in sections here. This is actually the section where we used the teleprompter yesterday to show the slicked off sections. But look at, like, if you just look at that dirt on camera, and it looks the same in person, I assure you, it looks like there would be so much grip. It's got good color to it. You think, oh, there's a lot of nutrients in there. The tires are going to stick. But something about this dirt here at CJ Raceway just does not offer a consistent race surface, or if the only thing that's consistent is that you don't know what to expect.
So about evenly spaced now is your top 3. Stu Baylor returns just a little bit. But yeah, look at that. Johnny pointing out Jordan Ashburn making the pass around Caleb Russell. We take a look at our last lap times, and 29.04 for Stu Baylor. So Stu is feeling feisty right now and feeling that flow state that we talked about as well. Stu kind of the bulldog of the group. He's not scared to smash that Kawasaki through obstacles, whereas now he's hopping and skipping and almost flowing his way around. It seems to be working for him as he's several seconds faster than the rest of the field.
A little bit Jet Lawrence-esque, if you will.
Exactly.
So 29.04.7 for Baylor, but take a look at Grant Davis down at the bottom of your screen at 29.04.6, so he was 0.1 second faster. The only one that's also going to be in that range with him is the 29.07 there, 0.7 for Draper. So up front, at the front of this field, Stu Baylor has broke away once again. He's put a few more bike links between himself and Craig DeLong. Looks like Craig going to shuffle back just a little bit. He's not far from the grips of Ben Kelly there, so we could see a battle between Kelly and DeLong.
Not surprised, or I am surprised to see that DeLong with that lap time. I thought he was going to be a little bit closer to Stu Baylor's lap time because it seems like he is making up time in some of these spots. But we get up into these open field sections, going to see some different line options as well, and really have the ability to set these bikes up, set your corners up in advance. As it looks like Stu trying to cut those insides off and keep it as straight as possible. As looks like Ashburn has now picked up.
The rider on the move, Jordan Ashburn, that Flat Rock Racing Landers gas there, man, up into the number 3 spot and making up ground quickly on Craig DeLong ahead of him. We may have a new leader here in a couple more corners if he keeps up this pace.
Yeah, Craig DeLong not going to be under fire by Ben Kelly. It is definitely going to be Jordan Ashburn that is going to be causing him trouble now.
Look at the dust kicking up. I did not expect this at all. We did know that there was some good moisture after the rain that we had, but man, it is really, look at that high line up the bank there. Can't tell if that's Draper or Caleb Russell.
Oh, they're together just a bit. Both of them able to stay up. A little bit of rubbing is racing here in this one between the Ampro Yamaha guys.
And that battle has propelled them right to the rear wheel of Ben Kelly now. And it looks like Draper did make the pass. He's gotten around Caleb Russell.
And just seems like we're seeing another level of intensity here from these XC1 guys on these opening bit here.
Oh, Draper down the inside and dive bombs Ben Kelly, making the pass and taking away the number 4 spot. Draper sees Jordan Ashburn making the move and saying, hey, I want to go with him. And now look at this, Caleb Russell around the outside of Ben Kelly, but not quite enough to get it done.
Yeah, Ben Kelly knows that he's got to get this train back on the rails. You do not want to keep falling like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not a sense of urgency for him. He can still see the lead, but man, anytime you're out there racing that hard, and riders, really, it seemed to me, just looking at it, I couldn't ride a dirt bike as well as these guys, but I can talk about it. That's what I get paid the big bucks to do. Looked like he kind of got out of sync in the corners there, started kind of taking some lines that weren't flowing quite well for him, really having to almost come to a stop and pivot in the corners where the other riders were just flowing them better, and then was spinning a lot more coming out. Look at that. There's another line for Stu Baylor up on the high side there that, well, we don't get to see if anybody else took it, but that was a crafty line there, hopping up over the bank again and straight lining a corner there. Completely legal line. They get 25 feet either way off the marked race course unless there are banners, white string, or other barriers keeping them in the track. So that's a great line from Stu there.
Yeah, the creativity really flowing there for Stu here today, and that's probably, second or third different line we've seen him take, Jackson, and all of them seem to be working in his advantage.
Yeah, he's been able to just hop skip his way around this Dunlop Buckwheat 100 course so far, and it's paying off for him as he continues to lead the way. Going to be about 45 minutes into this one. 2 laps complete, and still got plenty more to go.
Checking back in with one of our riders right there. Almost thought that was one of the Landers boys. Had that matching moose gear, but going to drop back here to mile number 1. And we'll try to pick up our next group on screen. Curious to see, we talked about the variance in conditions yesterday. It was kind of raining all day. It had a couple of downpours. Pretty consistently wet and slick out there. Now, seems like we've still got some of that moisture that's soaked in the woods, but like we saw in that open field section, Jackson, hard packed, dry, and way more dust than even I was expecting.
Yeah, same here for me. I was not expecting quite that much dust out here today. We have had a lot of bikes on track so far throughout this day, and I'm sure those field sections baking in the sun and the wind, and that's what's causing all this dust. By the end of this one, it's going to be dry out there in those field sections. It's only going to get drier and drier from here.
Guys, we did, as our banner kind of goes away there, we did see our top 3 250A riders and top overall amateurs check in, and there are 3 of them inside the top 20. JoJo Cunningham making the pass, getting to the front there, leading the way in that 250A class in 16th overall, Lane Whitmer 17th, and Hunter Smith in 18th overall. Leading the way from row 2 of our XC1, XC2 mix, Toby Cleveland 19th overall, and Jack Walker 20th overall, both out of that XC2 Pro Lights class.
So there we go, getting a view here of some of our amateur riders. There goes Caleb Wood and the rest of the boys. What a way to start this one off, Zach.
Ooh, I'm telling you what, things are exciting. We thought the start was exciting. We'll just wait for the next 3 hours or so. Top 20 all there on row 1, but it's an XC1 freight train here to kick things off. Grant Davis, Gus Reardon, and the rest of the XC2 field trying to track them down and pick their way through, this time with no time adjustment. Some creative lines from Stu Baylor out front leading the way, feeling the flow out here at the Buckwheat 100. Can he take it all the way to the checkers? We're just going to have to wait and find out. How about the Ampro Bros already banging bars less than an hour into the race? How's it going to shape out? We'll find out soon with more racing right here on RacerTV.com.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda Tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda Tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
It takes commitment, passion, and endurance to make something great. Made by champions, for champions.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVNC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to RacerTV.com, round number 10. Look, it's no secret. You guys have got some fancy toys here at GNCC, whether it's your motorhome, your truck, your camper, your dog. That's right, Progressive can cover it all. We talk about finding the flow. You got to go with flow. I'm talking about my friends over at Progressive Insurance. I know our man Jackie Legs, a longtime Progressive user as well. But if you guys are looking to save a little bit of money, all while getting top-notch protection from the toys that you've earned. I'm not talking smack. You guys have earned it. Scan this QR code on your screen. Tell them you're part of the GNCC Racing Nation and see what they can do to save you a few bucks. Absolutely worth taking. And look at this amazing drone shot we've got of all of the amazing fans back with us after a long summer break. They were fired up, and they're ready to be back GNCC Racing, ready to save a few bucks while they do it.
What about a camel? Can they insure a camel?
If it's a pet, I think it's fair, as long as it travels to the races.
I'm sure you could call or go online, and it would show you.
Absolutely. It's a service animal, I think, something like that. So here we are back at mile number 1. We talked about the summer break, and not much of a break for these riders. Several of them finding ways to give back to the next generation of riders, and a couple of our riders were able to do just that. And we got some pretty cool footage of it as well.
My name is Craig DeLong. I race for Rockstar Energy, Husqvarna Factory Racing.
My name is Liam Draper, and I race for Ampro Yamaha Racing.
We're here at the fuel camp doing some ride schools.
Actually, my good buddy Craig, he came here last year and told me all about it, and just wanted to come back with him and help some kids out. It's always nice to give back to the sport. Go to the inside of the rock.
I enjoy helping kids. I enjoy helping the younger kids try to learn stuff, pick up on some things. So when you come out of the turn, try to stay to the right side here and stay in. You miss pretty much all these roots right here, and you don't get that front end upset sliding around a little bit.
We all started as a kid on a 65, 50, and et cetera, and looked up to the pros, and I looked up to the pros, and today it's awesome to give back. You know, I was once a kid and always wanted to learn, so it's a privilege to come to these. I do a few with Yamaha, and now to come to my first field camp, it's definitely cool. Wheels out, okay? Good job.
for me, like, I don't get to do this type of stuff a lot, so I was able to kind of see the light bulb flash in their head, like, as they were going by me.
It's cool to see, and it's a good group of people, and the pastor here was kind enough to speak a few words.
We're here to step away from the everyday life and, you know, meet new people and talk about different things other than racing. I enjoy that.
Yeah, we're here at the Field Ministry Camp at Motocross Park here in Pennsylvania. The facility is awesome. It's got everything you need, and I'm proud to be a part of this.
We're taking a look at your leaders back on screen, making their way through. Picking back up Josh Strang. Looks like that might be Wachowski right behind him as well. Here at the 6 mile mark. Starting to see some of those roots we talked about yesterday coming to life. Here. Had to.
Oh, the John Madden.
Had to do that.
It's good. It's good.
Can you draw?
I'm working on my circles here.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
They used to call it, he had like the turkey with like the 30 drumsticks.
Yeah.
Can you draw that?
A turducken?
Nope. A turducken. There you go.
Yep.
Ricky Russell.
The Triumph front fender, they're a little whoppy job.
Well, we saw he was up there in the mix early in lap number 2 and then definitely dropped back pretty aggressively and pretty quickly. So most likely made contact with the tree or at least found the ground here. Nick DeFeo just behind him. We'll wait and we'll watch Toby Cleveland kind of leading the charge there from row number 2. So far only able to make his way up into the 19th place overall after a pretty slow start. He was the last one off the line, but he has made all the passes on the riders that started in front of him. Just 3.2 seconds behind him, though, is Jack Walker. And now we are out to our slag piles here. This is some runoff from the mining that used to happen here at CJ Raceway. Some coal that couldn't be burned, I suppose, and always offers an interesting little whoop section that gets rougher as the weekend goes on here.
I want to see, I don't believe our leaders have made it through here yet. I want to see if Stu Baylor still does that big jump that he did on the first time we saw him through. That was actually a pretty impressive leap.
I will say this, and I'm just now noticing this. I didn't yesterday. This pile here is about a tenth the size of what it's been in the past. So it looks like they've got a loader there, and apparently maybe they've found a use for some of this material because it used to be 2 rows wide, if you remember. And there you go, Stu Baylor hopping way up in there, clearing those first couple bumps and stretching out the lead over, judging by the riding style, Jordan Ashburn. Yep, it is Ashburn there in the number 2 spot. Then it is Draper in 3rd, DeLong in 4th, Ben Kelly in 5th. Jumping ahead, one more camera shot. Stu Baylor starting to just get away. It looks like right now he is on an absolute charge, trying to break these guys. He knows if he can get out of sight, it's hard for them to see those cool little lines he has, just kind of hopping up on banks and straightening out sections of the racetrack that so far nobody else has been able to figure out. There you go. It is Draper in 3rd, DeLong in 4th, Ben Kelly in 5th. Then it is Grant Davis has gotten around Caleb Russell and up to the number 6 spot.
Now going to jump up here to the 8 mile mark. Wait on Motley Stu here. Looking good, feeling good. I saw they had Levi all decked out in the Rocky Mountain Red Bear stuff. Looking good as well. We saw Jade at the start. I said, are we just throwing Levi straight on it? Stu just taking the day off. She said they could almost get the same start. So.
Oh, ouch!
He got a good one.
I know. I was about to say, he proved her wrong.
He might have lit a fire in him because he was quick off the line today and has really been leading this one throughout most of our first 2 laps of racing as we work our way now more than halfway through lap number 3.
I think I heard you, Johnny, mention this early. This is normally the kind of riding style we see out of Stu late. You get about that hour and a half mark, you see him start turning it on like this. This might be, knock on wood, no announcer curse, but Stu Baylor this good early is dangerous.
Well, and we talked about this as well. A very almost different riding style for Stu, it seems like, in this opening. Still getting kind of speed and intensity, but not quite slamming into stuff. It seemed like, Stu would almost try to break the earth with his bike, whereas now he's finding a way to flow with Mother Earth.
Picking the brain of Travis Pastrana, something.
Yes.
Of course, I don't know. Travis is kind of like just balls to the wall, send it. So
yeah, TP. He learned to do a backflip, and all of a sudden now he's figured out how to do a flow.
Got it.
Notably missing today from our lineup, Josh Toth, a rider who won our snowshoe overall, one of our XC2 riders who would have been starting on row number 1. I reached out to Josh, just sent him a text to see if he wanted to give us his words on the update, but I do know he had a very, very rough week in Italy just a week and a half or so ago, having a crash that potentially re-injured a leg and then getting some stitches in his elbow and also under the weather. Really had to fight through just to finish the week. So I'm going to go ahead and speculate for now until he says otherwise that it's just kind of a an after effect of all the injuries sustained and getting beat up at 6 days. Not really in the battle for that XC2 championship at the moment, so deciding maybe just to, discretion being the better part of valor and deciding to get healthy. We watch this battle on screen. Stu Baylor out front, Jordan Ashburn in the number 2 spot, and coming in, I don't know, 58 minutes in, we'll find out here in a moment if we're going to see any pit stops this round through. Draper really on a move. He is now all over Jordan Ashburn. We do see Stu Baylor in the pit, and it looks like Draper and Jordan Ashburn both bypassing their pits. So now it is Craig DeLong in the number 3 spot. Baylor back to 4th with Kelly right behind him in the number 5 spot. See Ben Kelly taking a water bottle there, and Grant Davis. Here's the championship battle on screen, folks. Your XC1 points leader and overall points leader, Ben Kelly, sitting in the number 5 spot. Just behind him, running 6 on the racetrack and 6 on corrected time. Grant Davis there. And those two are the two that are battling it out right now over our 2025 overall championship.
7 points the difference.
The only guy we had, at least that we saw, taking a pit was Stu Baylor, but this is not uncommon for him. We see him with some different pit strategies. So Stu maybe trying to grab one early. If he can fight his way back up toward the front, and then all these guys got to pit next time around.
Yes and no. This is going to loom large, potentially at the end of the race if it's a close race, because Stu will now for sure have to pit 2 times, unless something happens and the race runs very, very short. If it's at or near 3 hours, he will be on a 2-pit strategy, and with roughly our last lap being 29 minutes, the rest of these guys are going to end up going about an hour 36, 37, pitting once, and then they should from there be able to make it to the finish no problem. So the riders that did not stop will be on a 1-pit strategy, and number 2, Stu Baylor will be on a 2-pit strategy. Looking at our running order there on the screen, we do not believe that is correct. They're showing Caleb Russell out front. Looked like he was back in about the number 7 spot when they came through, so maybe a transponder issue there. Running out front, it should be now Jordan Ashburn should be leading the way, at least from what we're seeing on camera, unless Caleb Russell has gotten out front and pulled away, and we've missed him in all our camera shots. I did not physically see him. I saw a blue fender back there that looked like it was in about the 7th or 8th place spot, but we'll wait and we'll watch and we'll see if maybe all of our camera shots have missed Caleb Russell.
Looks like there was Stu, possibly Draper, then Ashburn, then possibly Davis, maybe?
Davis just now coming through that corner. It looks...
I don't think that was.
No? Okay, you might be right, because he definitely didn't look like he stopped either, unless possibly Angus Reardon also has put in a push and got a little farther up in the running order here. Looks like that might be... almost like Brody Johnson or Josh Strang coming through there. They both had pretty similar gear on today, both on red machines, although one being a Beta and one being a Honda.
Here at the 9-mile mark, looks like that is
Draper.
Has
gotten around Ashburn.
So Draper should be your leader. Ashburn, then DeLong. There's Baylor. Kelly and Davis right there.
Kelly Davis. And then it is Grant Baylor, Caleb Russell, Cody Barnes, and Gus Reardon.
So how about that? Liam Draper getting around Jordan Ashburn. Draper real racy earlier when you guys were early in that call, just working lines outside and going for it. On Caleb and on Ben early in this one. So Draper hungry.
We talked a little bit earlier, Mikey, about he rides here and is from this area, a little bit extra confidence, but also this was a big race for him last year. Coming back after summer break, his first entries into the XC1 class after having an injury and a surgery that took him out of defending that XC2 title that he had earned in 2023. And this was his second race in a row where he put it on the podium. but this race he battled right down to the end, giving up a little bit of time on that last lap of racing, but was very much in the mix with Grant Davis and Ben Kelly for that overall victory. So I think he's going to feel a little bit extra swagger here today.
And rightfully so. I mean, you look at the season Draper's had, and not, I don't think, what he expected, what anybody really expected here in 2025. As a matter of fact, Snowshoe 16th. So maybe that familiar territory playing well for Liam Draper to close out the silly season for 2025. Man, nothing would really get him going, fired up more than a
8, 9, 10. Cody Barnes trying to make a pass on his training partner, Caleb Russell. Now Josh Strang back up in the mix, and he's brought Mike Wachowski with him.
Oh, that was Wachowski.
So it looks like now that second group that kind of started to fall off a little bit is now making up ground, and Brody Johnson riding well there as well, just off that kind of second half of the lead group there.
I got to say, only a third into this, but so far, I really like the format here with the top 20 on row number 1. This has been some hard racing, and I don't know if it's just the guys are not out front trying to maybe ride above their heads a little bit to try and make up for that time gap back to the XC2 like we've had in the past, but it's created for some really good racing early in this one.
Well, the other thing, Mikey, that was brought up yesterday while discussing this, as we see our leader, Liam Draper, on screen, chased very, very closely by Jordan Ashburn, and now they are starting to open up the gap even a little bit more over the 342 Rockstar Husky of Craig DeLong there in the number 3 spot. Stu Baylor, the only rider from this lead group that we saw that pitted.
Yeah.
We know none of the other top 3 did for sure because that's where they passed him. Can't say for certain any of those riders behind did or did not pit. But we'll be able to say who wins this race when they cross the finish line, unless we have someone from row 2 that gets up in the mix, whether it be right now leading the way from row 2 is Toby Cleveland there, but back in 19th place overall, and looking at the time correction, well over a minute out of the mix for an overall position here. He is, could they put in a charge for sure, but right now we don't have to keep constantly doing this time correction to figure out who's actually leading. Right. So that's an interesting and I believe kind of beneficial side effect of this adjustment. When the checkered flag waves, you want to know that's the guy that won.
Right.
And look at this, Grant Davis starting to apply some serious pressure to Ben Kelly now. Able to pull up beside him there in our last camera shot. This camera shot, not quite the case.
Say we know Grant wants to win. That's always the goal for him. But if nothing else, he needs to finish in front of the man directly in front of him, that 530.
I'll tell you, look at that, Grant Davis, man, that back end loose. We talked about it earlier, that scoop tire, it bit him once already. He's making it work. He's one of the fastest riders on the track. He's got to drive, but that 350 just a little more get up and go than the 250 that Grant Davis is on, and Ben Kelly able to hold him off, tucking around the inside, not leaving any room. He knows what Grant Davis is trying to do. He's trying, there again, the back end stepping out.
Yep.
For me, that's just so scary, but Grant loves it. He rides loose. He's got another drive on Ben Kelly with the head shake, still squaring him up, and one more time. Nope. Ben Kelly closes the door. That is good racing there, folks.
I don't know who I was impressed with more on that, Grant going for it or Ben just not relinquishing, just holding him off. Great riding by both guys.
I'll tell you one rider I think we really need to keep an eye on, and that is Grant Baylor back there. A rider normally not a fast starter that we see, back outside the top 10, sometimes even further, charging up and late in the race. We're like, hey, at the pace he's riding, if he could have got going a little earlier, he could be on the podium or battling for a win. And a few people, and I don't truly know why, said, hey, keep an eye on Grant Baylor. Again, starting the season injured, missing a lot of the first part of the season, kind of racing his way into shape, and coming into his own and strong here 1 hour into this, already up in the mix within sight of the lead. I think that bodes well for him as we get deeper into this race if he's able to keep this momentum that he has going right now.
We'll see what the Grizzlies got. It's a very good point. Wait for him to charge late. He's there early.
Here we go. Our leader's going to make their way back on the screen now.
Draper out in front, Ashburn applying the pressure, and how about this dust? Man, I'm with you guys. Didn't expect to see that.
Jordan Ashburn, another rider, beset by injuries early in the season, missing some rounds. Actually, if I remember correctly, breaking his shoulder blade without even crashing.
Yes.
He hit landed so hard and hit something so hard that it actually broke his shoulder blade, opting to sit out a few races to get healthy, and maybe spent the summer break just getting himself stronger and stronger. And we're told that it looks like, yes, Grant Davis does make the pass and is now right to the rear wheel of the 514 of Stu Baylor, bringing with him Grant Baylor and also Caleb Russell in the mix there just behind Ben Kelly. This is an exciting one to watch. I think we could probably just put these guys in a Yahtzee shaker every camera shot, because this is about a 5-rider battle here as they work their way through at the completion of lap number 3 and taking off to start lap number 4.
And just a second ago, I saw Stu Baylor take a big look over his shoulder at Grant Davis. Oh, did you see that?
It's on.
Some words being gave by Stu Baylor that time.
No surprise there. Cody Barnes and Gus Reardon just behind Grant Davis just a few seconds, and they have found each other. They are glued together, and they are battling.
Now the question is, how is Grant Davis going to respond to that one? Either we might have just poked the bear with that one. The question is, who's going to be the bear in this scenario?
Well, they're getting ready to come out of the woods here. They'll be the next 2 bikes we see. It is still Stu Baylor, and we do not... Oh, no, sorry, that's Craig DeLong. It'll be the next 2 bikes we see. It is still Stu Baylor and Grant Davis still right there. But Ben Kelly now back to the...
I'm not speaking for Grant Davis, but my heart just... I think I got up to 190 beats a minute waiting on the fisticuffs that was about to go... Got into him. He ain't scared, man.
These guys, yeah, they get along. Like they want to, pass each other. But I don't think we're going to see. We're not going to see any. I don't think we'll see fist thrown. I mean,
growling,
maybe a little growling, maybe a little Wookiee sound. As they kind of growl at each other. You might not be able to hear it over the sound of those FMF and Yoshimura exhausts, but yeah, there's definitely a little tension between those two. But I think Stu Baylor's. I don't know who's the bear in that scenario. Dude. We know Grizzly Grant, but Stu mentioned it, and it's I know how he meant it, and people may have picked up on it. He started talking about career XC2 guys.
Sure.
And that was kind of his little jab at those guys and saying, hey, there's a big boy class up front.
Yep.
Why don't you come run that? Well, right now Grant Davis is saying, you want me to run with the big boys? Well, here I am running into your rear tire. So friendly, but at the same time, each of these guys very much with the point to prove.
So there goes our leader, Liam Draper, still out front with Jordan Ashburn just right there. That is the battle we are keeping our eyes on. Now going to shift back to Craig DeLong, a little farther back there for DeLong. And the boys we've been talking about, here they are, Stu Baylor, Grant Davis.
Now they have opened it up again over Ben Kelly. Then it's Grant Davis, Caleb Russell.
Grant Baylor.
Yep, sorry, Grant. Too many Grants.
Liam Draper possibly having a check up there for that lap rider.
Not a lot of lap traffic so far, but they are going to start getting into it thicker as we see riders working their way the other direction in this section. Definitely could come into play, especially with the speeds they're running on this track. A very fast, we mentioned it yesterday on the broadcast, very flowy. You can see so many line options. And when we talk about line options, it's not separated by trees like it is in the woods, but out here, you can go outside in, inside out, you can try to tuck around the inside or rail it all the way around. There's just so many different ways to put these pieces together in this puzzle.
Yeah, there sure is. Everybody watching here on this Yamaha Racing Live drone. And another battle going to ensue right there. Pop back into the woods, lose them for just a second here for our drone. And got to pick them back up now with Liam Draper.
Draper looking confident, really just bringing out that Ampro Yamaha. You can see more lap riders starting to appear on the trail in front of him. Craig DeLong getting a little loose coming out of the woods there. You see that root sticking up, looked like he got a little sideways kick. And now Stu Baylor's put in a push that has opened up just a few bike lengths over Grant Davis.
Yeah, these two starting to close in somewhat now on Craig DeLong.
That was a very interesting line from Stu Baylor. Do you see how tight. Checked up, kind of wheelied over the inside of that ditch, and now so many of the other riders picking up on it as well. Man, look at all these guys. They might need an air traffic controller to figure out who's who.
No joke. Grant seeming to take the same lines as Stu through these past few sections, so maybe picking up some notes here. Wait, what is this right here? Did Did Baylor just get past?
It looks like he did. Grant Davis getting around Stu Baylor. Or is that Craig DeLong? They may have gotten... Nope, DeLong's still out in front there. And it is... Nope, still Baylor ahead of Davis. And then just behind them, it's the other Baylor. Now, Grant Baylor has gotten around Ben Kelly. So Ben Kelly now starting to slide backwards after a strong start, grabbing the early lead. Man, that lapped rider is in a bad position. He's trying to pull out of the way, and he can't even count the number of riders that are passing him. Now it looks like Caleb Russell also around Ben Kelly, and even potentially looking like Barnes and Reardon right up on Ben Kelly. They're almost getting him going into the woods. We'll have to see if we can make out who's who and what's what, but that was an absolute melee through that field section. Ben Kelly losing out, so there's DeLong. There's your third place rider. Next, it should still be, now we're going to jump ahead. That was Liam Draper. Interesting enough, out in that field section, you kind of see ribbon going everywhere, and the way they have it set up, it's such a huge field section. They can't ribbon off everything, so they have arrows and they have banners that kind of direct these guys around. And yesterday with the ATVs and the rain, oh, look at that. Now Strang and Mikowski are right up into the battle as well. It was very difficult in the rain as course markers were getting knocked down, so that field looks a little different today.
Good point.
And they've actually had to make some adjustments after some things that happened during the morning race. Some riders were kind of, as some course markings were changing, they wanted to make sure they stayed on track and kept it safe for everybody. So some additional course markings, some additional ribbon. They do throughout the weekend. They'll continue to evolve the racetrack, whether it be putting up string, banner, extra arrows, extra stakes, just to make sure that everybody is riding within the confines of the racetrack and also in the safest lines. When there's blind things, they'll put up X's. We don't really ever talk about the course markings, but there's so many different arrows and so many different course markers. W's for going the wrong way, X's for signaling danger ahead. If you're here at the event, I don't know, I've never watched the opening to Racer TV. Do they get to hear the riders meeting?
Not typically, not on the broadcast.
So if they don't hear that, it's all gone through in the riders meeting to notify the riders of exactly what they're facing out there, what all of the course markings mean, and all that information also available online for people to educate themselves before coming to their first GNCC race, so they know exactly what they're up against and the course markings and how it gets put together.
So hanging here at the 3-mile mark, several different lines available here. Another one of these sections where several lines are available, but man, things are getting fired up now. We thought the start was exciting, and it just keeps rolling from here. As here we go, Stu Baylor out front. He was trying to dominate. And then look at this. Freight train started to chase him down, Mikey, and it's like these guys got warmed up. It's like Stu was doing jumping jacks on the line or something. He was warmed up. Now everybody else starting to catch up. And the kid, Grant Baylor, starts on row 1 this time. He says, guys, I didn't need the adjusted time. I'm coming through the pack, and I'm trying to take over. Is he going to be able to work his way to the front? We're going to have to find out. We'll be back with more racing right here on RacerTV.com.
On Track School is an online private school catering to some of the top athletes in the world. We offer a flexible schedule for students that are chasing their dreams and always on the go. We are an accredited K-12 school where students can graduate with a diploma. Scan the QR code or call us to book an appointment with one of our learning coaches to discuss your students' next steps.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 left, the main event, the mud, the blood, the beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. 100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future.
Are you ready to rev up your race game? Look no further than Landers KTM, your ultimate trackside support. We offer top quality parts, gear, accessories, and more. Plus, enjoy free labor from our certified technicians to keep you on track. Join the passion with your local dealership right here to support all your racing needs. Our friendly staff is geared up and ready to take care of you. And don't miss out. Experience up to $500 savings on select KTM Stasics. Available in all sizes. So, what are you waiting for? Swing by Landers KTM today and let us fuel your racing dreams. Landers KTM, where your race begins.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. The Specialized E-Turbo GNCC was back in action on Friday night. And per usual, heavy hitters out in front. Cody Privarato doing his thing, but would be challenged, Zach.
Yeah, Cody Privarato, this was kind of his time to shine. Garrett Stout right there next to him. Kept him honest, especially for those opening few laps. We see our XC2 field starting to take off as well. I had some good battles. XC2 and XC3 were the ones to watch this past round. Cody Privarato, he got out front and got away. But these are some of our XC3 riders right there.
Sjogren.
They went absolutely to the wire. So impressive to watch. But, man, I think this has been a long time coming for Privarato. We've seen him deal with the Cypress Gories, the Charlie Mullins. We had Beaupre earlier this year as well. And now seems like he's got everything firing like he wants. He was out front, and, man, it was impressive to watch. We see Sjogren and the rest of the XC3 field. There is, looks like that's Philip Solon Sr., the rest of the crew all grinding up on the saddle. We had our very own Kirk Sessions out there. He came through, had a little mechanical issue, but gave us a nice little track update as well. This seemed like it was a fun one as well. A little bit of damp conditions. This was before a lot of the rain came, but man, just seems like it's a good flow, and we talk about it all the time. This is one of the only series where up on the podium, all they're talking about is they want more competition. They want more people to get to experience how much fun EMTB racing is.
Well, be careful what you wish for. On Instagram, I saw that Devin Feehan, a former top XC1 ATV rider who has become now a full-time professional mountain bike racer, actually did race one GNCC EMTB bike race back in the day. Didn't charge his bike beforehand. It was a last-minute decision, and the bike died. He finished with no assist whatsoever and did still pretty well. Now one of the top mountain bike racers in the country, doing quite well, finishing in the top 5 at Nationals this year, and actually starting to delve into international competition in the UCI World Cups, and starting to carve his way there. It's a big
goals
series.
Of Olympics.
Yeah, and goals of going to the Olympics. He had mentioned, hey, I've been posting all this ATV content lately, but I'm not coming back to ATV racing. So I poked the bear, and I said, well, how about some GNCC E-bike racing? And he said, you know, I need some redemption from the one that I tried.
Heck yeah.
So to have him come back, you know, we might have to find that man a flight and a bicycle to come out and compete here in GNCC EMTB to give Cody Privarato and the rest some competition and really just deepen the field even further.
Going to be fun to watch. We take a look at our progressive last lap times here on the chart, and as you can see, dropping down into the 28s now. Liam Draper, that 28.50. Ashburn, a 28.52. But, man, how impressive is this? We talked about the intensity that we saw from Draper. Got hung up a little bit as he was trying to work his way through the field, but now that he's got himself out front, a little bit of that clean air, Johnny, we're seeing what Draper's capable of doing. And like you said, this is a spot where he feels very comfortable, knows he's capable of getting the job done.
Yeah, and we've seen Liam ride very well so far in 2025, but the reality of it is just not up to par with what we saw at the end of 2024, where he was on the podium every round in the first 4 races that he entered into XC1 competition. And this is more like the Liam Draper that we saw on that Ampro Yamaha at the end of 2024, out front, leading the way and looking very, very comfortable doing so.
Hanging here at the finish line, watching a few more of our riders make their way through. I tell you what, I'm always shocked at how much the track changes throughout the course of the weekend, but I really did not expect to see powder burns by the end of the weekend, especially here this morning. There was still some standing water on parts of the track as well.
Well, and we even had a little rain last night.
Yeah.
It's not like it's been dry since it stopped raining during the afternoon race yesterday. We did have some rain last night. Again, nothing hard, but I was out and about walking around and just kind of taking in GNCC in the evening and stopped by some campfires, told some war stories. And as I was walking back, started raining again. I thought we talked about it in the pre-show, almost like track maintenance. Mother Nature just watering this track for us. Well, it wasn't enough because the sun came out, the wind picked up, and now we've got some dusty conditions out in these fields.
Beautiful shot there from our Yamaha Racing live drone as we head back towards the coal pile, waiting on our leaders to make their way through. Get down to that kind of fall, autumn time. Start to see the leaves change up here a little bit more. You're going to see more of that as the rest of the season wears on. But, man, it's great to be back GNCC racing. And we talked about this yesterday with our ATVs, kind of that revitalized and energized sense for these riders as well. Don't get me wrong. They've been on the bike all summer long. They've been putting in the time. But there is something about stepping away from the series, stepping away from that actual starting line, taking a few months, and now you kind of hit the reset button and you're ready to come out swinging for the Final Four.
Absolutely, and we mentioned earlier in the broadcast here that Josh Toth missing from our race here today, a rider who actually finished our overall top position, beating out his teammate and team manager, Stu Baylor at Snowshoe, winning that race. Another rider missing still, the big number 1, our defending series champion of Johnny Girard. A lot of speculation that he would be back, obviously racing for Team USA in Italy the past couple weeks. Liam Draper now has opened up a bit of a gap over Jordan Ashburn. I did get official word from KTM's Auntie Colin saying that Johnny, he had broken his hand just before ISD at the training camp, was able to soldier through, but the pain from 6 days of straight riding, he tried to ride this week and just felt it was best to take off at least 2 rounds, but plans to join us back here very soon in GNCC and at least run that number 1 plate a few more times before he hopefully comes back in 2026 and tries to put himself in the mix, the battle. So Johnny, if you're at home watching, we miss you out there. Look forward to having you back in an upcoming round, and it will definitely be good to have the big number 1 back up there. Now look at this, Grant Davis and Stu Baylor still glued together. So that answers the question if Davis has anything for Baylor. Not for the past, but he's still right there. And now Grant Baylor
sandwich
has made some moves. And then it is Cody Barnes, who has now also gotten around Ben Kelly.
Gus Reardon.
Josh Strang. Caleb Russell and Mike Wachowski.
Back up to the front of the field here at mile number 8. Draper ever so slightly putting a bit of time between himself and Ashburn. Ashburn seems pretty relaxed at the moment, at least. Kind of seems like he's comfortable with the pace. Got to wonder if he's saving up for a later race charge.
See the sun really now starting to bake this West Virginia dirt here.
Interesting. Jordan Ashburn, obviously former champion himself, just one podium under his belt, and then Liam Draper just one podium under his belt this season. I was just thinking they're pretty separated as far as the point standings go, but similar seasons in that more downs than ups this year. Can't think of too many other guys that could really use a win would be great for them, a podium if nothing else. And both of those guys out front looking to make it happen here late in the season.
So either Grant Davis made the pass on Stu Baylor or we've lost Grant Davis. There is Barnes. There's Kelly. I think Davis may have gotten around Stu Baylor. There's Reardon. So there you have Ashburn. There is DeLong. There's Baylor. And there's Davis. I guess I just missed him. So much sunshine, I can't focus.
We've not had a lot of sunshine.
Used to picking these guys out when they're covered in mud. When you can see the numbers and the gear.
Throws Johnny off.
Yeah, can't tell who that is just because it says his name and a big number 1. Who's that guy?
So Ashburn in the pits right now.
Oh, and so it looks like some passes being made in the pits there. But Grant Davis and Stu Baylor will not be pitting. So Baylor now right to the rear wheel. Will he make the pass? Nope. Liam Draper holds on to the lead. Ashburn there in the number 3 spot. But things evening themselves out. Stu Baylor pitting a lap ago, giving up the lead. And now Liam Draper able to hold on to it, but Baylor right to his rear wheel in the number 2 spot. There's DeLong. So looks like Grant Baylor, if he did pit that lap, unless he pitted last lap,
very good point,
as well with his brother Stu. Either way, he made the pass on Grant Davis when Grant Davis was in the Landers KTM pits there. So he's going to drop back a spot.
Look to see Stu Baylor maybe be pretty aggressive here. As you mentioned, Johnny, he's going to have to pit one more time. So if you're Stu, you want to get out in front of Liam Draper and put as much of a gap on these guys as you can.
Exactly, because simply having the lead isn't enough. If they're right behind you, however many guys are within, say, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds of you are going to be in front of you once you stop and get that fuel. So he knows he's got to open up a gap physically to be able to stop, take on the additional fuel. And unless he's got, they may have some magic in that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki, but it would mean if this ends up running, we haven't done the calculations yet, and we always wait for race control to tell us how many laps, but if it ends up going the full 3 hours, there is absolutely zero chance that he would be able to run full 3 hours. It would be able to run 2 hours because he pitted right at about an hour that first time that he came in and took fuel. So he will most likely, almost certainly, be on a 2-stop plan here for today's Buckwheat 100. See some other riders coming through with those yellow plates. You can tell those are some B-class riders out there doing battle at the 9-mile marker. A little more light coming through here as the sun gets higher in the sky, able to penetrate this canopy a little bit better, shed some light on what's going on here in the woods of the Buckwheat 100 in Newburgh, West Virginia. Wait and watch. Again, some more B-riders coming through. You can see just how tough these sections of racetrack are. And again, we say it every show when we have the opportunity, but these are some of the best riders in their local and regional series back home, here in our B and A classes, and H classes, and even our youth classes. And they show just how difficult the terrain is. There's your leader. And there is second place. Stu Baylor just behind him. Liam Draper finding that line that Stu Baylor had in his back pocket, and Jordan Ashburn in the mix as well there. Craig DeLong, Grant Baylor, Grant Davis, all very much in sight of the lead group.
And if I'm not mistaken, has Ashburn already picked off a couple since his pit stop? Because he stopped in there as well.
I think he was third when they came out of the pits. He came out not too far behind Stu Baylor, but it looks like he has made up some ground physically on the racetrack. Craig DeLong would have pitted as well, so I think the running order may have remained pretty close there with those guys. DeLong, another rider, really looking for a good finish here today. After we put out, I think, 16th at Snowshoe, we had said. I mean, that was Liam that was 16th.
Craig had a 10th, but race prior of the 14th.
We have seen him with that... did have a podium at our Alabama round of racing.
Seems like a long time ago.
Not a whole lot of lap traffic so far here. An hour and a half, basically reaching the halfway mark in this one. But that said, we know they're going to start getting into it thicker as they get further and further up into the amateur ranks. Draper on screen, Baylor in second, and Jordan Ashburn. Ooh, Stu Baylor almost touched the front there in that right-hand corner, showing just how slick the dirt here is.
And that's another great spot where you can clearly see those square edges as well, how aggressively the bikes get kicked out.
Baby Baylor and Grant Davis coming through as well. And we are told from Race Control and OPAG, our producer Adam Gordon, that it will be a 7-lap race here. Cody Barnes, Ben Kelly, Gus Reardon. So that is your top 3 in XC2 coming through. Can't forget that while we now have an even playing field for the XC1 and XC2 for the overall, they are still racing within their class as well. Championship still up for grabs in that XC2 class. Grant Davis leading the way in that one, but Cody Barnes and Gus Reardon not too far behind him there, and also not too far behind him on the racetrack, trying to match pace, trying to get up in there and steal some points away, put themselves a little closer to potentially wrestling away that green number 1 plate at the end of 2025.
Some riders moving out of the way. Leaders coming through. Draper still out in front. Now Draper with a bit of a gap on Stu, and there is Ashburn lurking in third.
Craig DeLong there as well, in that big left-hand sweeper. Draper seems pretty comfortable letting the bike dance around under him. Baylor, we've already pointed out just how smooth and fluid he seems to look today. Pointed out multiple times, our man Zach Heron, how he tends to be a bit of a bulldog, and today looking a little, Josh Toad, Jet Lawrence kind of hopping around, feet on the pegs. Maybe all the time that he's put in this summer, kind of finding something either with the bike setup or his riding style, making him more comfortable using less energy to go just as fast or faster.
Stu Baylor's like water. It can flow or it can crash.
Draper takes a look over his shoulder. Craig DeLong now putting a good push there, right up to the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn, taking a look over his shoulder and seeing the Grizzly, Grant Baylor there, and also Grant Davis. So the battle of the Grants continues. Grant Davis was ahead of Grant Baylor, and then after his pit stop, Grant Baylor able to repass Davis and move him back 1 position in the running order. Lap rider moving way out of the way and taking a look over his shoulder, allowing Liam Draper to pass. Will soon do the same here for Stu Baylor. See just how patient these riders are being coming into the corners. You know, it's not a track where you can just kind of hold it wide open, rail around the outside in some of the corners. They're really checking up early. You can see the bike just the tires wanting to slide out from underneath them as they try to lean the bike over to make the corner. So in a lot of cases, you see a lot of front brake, almost coming to a stop in some of these tighter corners, getting the bike turned and then accelerating very, very aggressively, trying to make time because they just can't trust when they start leaning the bike over onto those side knobs that it's going to grip, and they don't want to end up sliding down the ground like we saw Grant Davis do in turn number 3, having to stop, adjust those handlebars, and thus far has not yet made it to the point position or really into a podium position battle. We've seen him up inside the top 5, running back there now in about that number 6 or 7 spot. Check in here in just a moment with what will be 4 laps complete, meaning 3 more go-rounds here today. This was the big battle yesterday coming to the finish line between our race winner Bryson Neal and Josh Merritt. They were side by side, bouncing off of each other all the way through this entire section of racetrack, and looking like we're shaping up to see similar action here today with so many riders so close together as we approach now over the halfway point of this race.
Man, Liam looking so good today.
This was the corner where we saw Jordan Ashburn with all the patience making that pass back on Draper a lap or 2 ago. But Draper finding that outside, the cushion starting to build up now. There's some grip in that berm, able to hold those guys from sliding out on the off camber. Baylor checks in, Ashburn checks in, DeLong,
Stu gonna get hung up.
Baylor 2.0, and Grant Davis as well, all through, with now 4 laps complete.
Baylor got kind of pinched off right there, had 2 lappers, one on the outside, one on the inside, had to thread the needle, loses a little bit of time. So Draper gets a little bit more breathing room, and again, lingering that second pit stop that Stu is going to have to do.
So that is position number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 on screen with Liam Draper just out of camera shot there.
Once again, you saw the back end of Davis step out, had to actually dab the foot down that time.
Now the rest of our top 10 has changed or checked in, and you see some mix-ups in the running order there. Things shuffling around a little bit. Actually, our top 11 riders now have checked in, and 12 with Mike Wachowski now checked in as well.
Be interesting to see how Grant Davis, or excuse me, too many Grants again. Grant Baylor handles this lap. This is where you were saying, Johnny, this is where we start to see the Baylor brothers really shine in that last or second half of the race.
Man, I tell you, if anything is like what we've seen in the past, we might see a two-rider battle of two Baylors just run away from this field in hour number 3 because it's just crazy how much faster these two tend to get as the race goes on. But you know, it's a new day, a new race, and they've been strong from the beginning. Been a lot of speculation over the years that the reason why Grant specifically is so strong at the end is he saved up all that energy from the beginning when he can't get comfortable. So we'll see if he still has the gusto at the end to be able to put in those lightning fast laps and how far he can propel himself forward. Currently running in the number 5 spot, but within sight of the lead. Looking at it with an elapsed time of 1:35.50 for Liam Draper. Grant Baylor back there in the number 5 spot with 1:36 even. So 10 seconds, essentially, a little under 10 seconds out of the lead. Definitely not a lot of ground to make up. If suddenly he can find himself with a burst of energy and a burst of speed, we could potentially see him get up there and battle for that point position.
Watching Liam Draper roll through mile marker number 1. I forgot that you'd mentioned earlier Grant Baylor having the injuries early in the year. He actually closed out before summer break Snowshoe at the top 5, had a 5th place finish. So great ride for him at Snowshoe, trying to back that up here today. In the thick of it right now, though.
Yeah, trying to put some pressure on the rider in front of him, but just behind. Oh, Draper going a little deep into that one, having to check up and really mark his way around that round bale, look over the shoulder to see what the gap is back to the second place rider of Stu Baylor, then Ashburn, DeLong, and now look at this. Grant Baylor getting very aggressive. He's going to try to square Craig DeLong up. Gets on the gas, but DeLong just a little too much flow through that section. But Baylor going to give it another go. And keep in mind, we're coming to that big open field section where we saw so many passes just a lap ago. A little bit different lines for DeLong and Baylor there. Baylor trying to get out of the roost zone, but also trying to use the power of that. Wow, look at that. You can see the chicken wing, and around the outside, he makes the move and gets around Craig DeLong to take away the number 4 spot. Folks, Grant Baylor is on the move.
Grant's listening to the broadcast right now. He's got Racer TV in the ears, and he's like, all right, they said it's go time, and it is, man. What a move. So Grant Baylor picking up a position. That puts him in 4th, correct? Is Craig's? Yeah, Craig's
yes,
4th.
Yep, he's gotten around.
So, yeah, in the 4th spot.
Hey, speaking of the Baylors and Kawasaki, I was able to make my way through there as we wait on our leaders. There he is, making his way through. But to give you an update on Stu Baylor, who we expect to see right now, that pit stop. They were a little close to the chest with that one. They did not want to let us know a whole lot. They did say that they might be keeping some of a secret. What they would let me know is that the reason they stopped that first time was due to a little bit of debris in the goggles. So Stu wanted a new set of goggles. They got him that. They said anytime that they pit, they're going to make sure to add gas, because you never know what might happen.
Oh, look at this. Oh, my goodness. Grant Baylor already to the rear wheel of Jordan Ashburn and already trying to make the pass, wasting no time. Whoa. He is crazy aggressive right now, looking so strong on that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki. Will he try around the outside here? No, he tries to go inside.
Grant might have... Oh, he's going to go on the outside. Thought he was going to maybe...
on the Talladega wall ride.
Gas, or the grass. On the gas, how about it?
On the gas and in the grass.
Just behind the gas. Man, oh my goodness.
And swapping back and forth, but not able to get the pass there for Grant Baylor against Jordan Ashburn.
It's amazing. He's using so much energy, but just continuing to it's like How many times is he going to fire here? And he did this last lap down the inside again. And he takes the position away from Jordan Ashburn.
And that's how you do it. Grant Baylor closes the door and now going to get himself up into a podium spot.
And who's the next rider in front of him?
None other than his brother, Mr. Stu Baylor.
Not only is he making passes, but look at the distance he's opened up over Craig DeLong and Grant Davis riders that he was just behind, just in some cases just a few corners ago. He is absolutely the fastest rider on the track right now.
Well, we get to see a Baylor battle here in a moment for that 2 spot.
They don't ride to the races together, and it's a good thing.
That's probably true. Liam Draper. I mean, if you're Liam Draper right now, run away and hide.
Jordan Ashburn not giving up on it, though.
Ashburn's
he
still
is
on that rear
fighting
wheel.
back. He's known for that. He is not a rider. When he gets past, he doesn't just settle into that position. He immediately goes back on the offensive. Grant Davis and Craig DeLong still there as well, very much in touch with this battle. And now the lead 6 riders have opened up what its scoring was a 17-second gap over the 99 of Cody Barnes there, 990 of Cody Barnes in the number 7 spot. That is the first big gap. You know, it's fractions of a second through those top 6 riders, and then 7th place Barnes 17.6 seconds back. There is Josh Strang. There is Caleb Russell, and there is Mike Rakowski. So that's your top 12 now through. Stu Baylor said it in his interview. He said we could see 15 riders within 15 seconds coming to the finish, and right now we've got about 12 inside of about 30 seconds, so it definitely is shaping up to be very close racing here today.
Did we get the shot of Witkowski coming together with Russell going out of the pits?
No.
Yes, I did not catch it myself, but got some updates there from actually Miss Strang and letting us know that those two came together pretty hard on the exit of the pits there. Both of them apparently able to stay upright, though, still charging forward.
Yeah, both still running in that number 11 and 12 spot. Then I think we did just see Brody Johnson go through there. Yeah, he was about 15 seconds behind Caleb Russell when they checked in with the completion of lap number 4, so that likely was him. Next up, we should be waiting to watch for Ricky Russell.
There he is.
Just like that, here he comes. Ricky Russell. Now, it looks like, is the front fender gone?
Yes,
completely?
the front fender is gone. When he came through the pits, he was grabbing a hold of his front number plate, whacking it across the front forks of that machine, so he's definitely took a hit somewhere.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that, again, we talked about it. It was up in the mix there on lap number 1 and 2 and then dropped back, but for him to recover and still be within, you know, a reasonable striking distance of the riders in front of him and sitting in that number 14 spot, looked like Jack Walker just came by there. I think that's who that was. I kind of looked up very quickly. See some more of our A and B class riders working their way through. Should be watching for the 246 of DeFeo, and there he is, just on cue. Next up, we should be watching for Toby Cleveland, and then our top amateur riders, JoJo Cunningham, Cole Whitmer making a big charge, and also Cooper Jones. We will have some more XC1 and XC2 riders in the mix physically, although they have been bumped out of the top 20 after you correct the time and throw those top amateur riders in there. So Cole Whitmer out of that open A class now has broken the stranglehold of the 250A riders inside the top 20, with JoJo Cunningham leading the way in 250A and 18th overall, Cole Whitmer leading the way in Open A and 19th overall, and then it is Cooper Jones out of that 250A class running second place, but 1 minute and 1 second behind JoJo Cunningham. So Cunningham really pushing the pace right now. Back to our leader out front at the 4-mile marker. Liam Draper taking a look over his shoulder, and he sees still Stu Baylor and Grant Baylor in tow with Jordan Ashburn, Craig DeLong, and Grant Davis all flying in formation.
We saw the Fuel Ministries segment with Craig DeLong and Liam Draper. I think Liam has been watching some old Craig highlights, because I don't think I've ever seen Liam Draper look over his shoulder this much ever. It just trying to maintain that pace out in front of Stu Baylor.
There is Barnes, and for one of the few times this season, he is not in exactly the same corner as that man right there, Gus Reardon, and then it is Ben Kelly just behind Reardon there, running in the number 8 spot in the overall. So talking about the points, a 7-point lead for Ben Kelly coming in today, currently running in the number 8 spot. Grant Davis running in the number 6 spot. So that is only a 2-point difference. So we would still be looking, as they run, about 5 points.
It's been a good one so far. We're going to get in a commercial break, get in a word from our sponsors. It has been an absolute barn burner. Liam Draper, the 198, is leading the way. Stu Baylor and Grant Baylor, the Baylor brothers, sitting second and third. Meanwhile, you got the rest of the pack lingering back there. Ashburn does not want to be denied, staying on that rear wheel. Pit strategies coming into play. There's a shot of the 342 of Craig DeLong on that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Getting some fuel, fresh set of goggles. There's the battle we've been watching between Draper and Stu Baylor. Stu Baylor's going to have to get at least a splash of gas one more time. How will that play out? Can Draper hang on for the win? We'll be right back after this.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Mikey Wayne's alongside Jackson Burrow and Zach Heron. Johnny Gallagher out and about. We welcome you back here, round 10, Buckwheat 100, the Dunlop Buckwheat 100. And it has been a close race. It's been a tight race. It's been a good race. And I believe we've got an interview where Stu Baylor talks about some of the tight racing here at Buckwheat.
I'll be honest, I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but I hate this place. I think that the first year they did a lot better with it, and it's just continued to get the same exact lines, and they've ribboned off everything else. So for us to be doing the first race with all the guys on the front row, me as a racer, I'm not stoked on it. I think that the course was done poorly. I'm not really happy with it. A lot of guys are all saying that they won't say it in front of the camera like I will, but it is what it is. You know, I've always been honest, probably overly honest, and that's my honest opinion. I think it was done bad, and the lines that did develop while we were pedaling the track, I just went back out, and most of them were ribboned off. So I think it's going to be tough to make passes, and like, you know, Liam, Craig, and I were just talking over there above the field track. Like, to pass an XC1 guy in the field, which the only opportunities to pass is nearly non-existent. We don't see that happen because XC1 guys are all so damn fast. You're not going to ride a different line. You're not going to be faster than another guy's 450 or 350. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, it's overall, I'm not super stoked on this one. This venue is really good. The parking's cool. It's in a great location, and I think there's a lot more this property has to offer. But like I say, I'm not stoked on it.
Hey, little brother didn't have no hard time out in the field sections there. Able to make a few passes. But no, I get exactly where Stu Baylor's coming from, and I love the honesty there from Stu Baylor. Hey, say what you mean and mean what you say, and that's exactly what Stu Baylor does. So good to hear from him. I'd say he might have a little different opinion if he's able to overall this one. He'll say, who cares what race you do it at? I'll win any of them.
You may have just caused a rift in the Baylor family right there. I like that. No, I'm here for it. Taking a look at those last lap times. Draper at 28:57, but man, the 28:46 by Stu Baylor, absolutely hauling the mail. And then I got to think, man, maybe by the end of this lap, we look at this again. If he keeps going like he is, Grant Baylor going to be throwing his name in the hat for the fastest lap time this time around, as he is absolutely charged. To Jackson's point, picked up several positions and still charging late in this one.
Well, and I don't think it's surprising to anybody, as we see him on screen right there, to see him with that fast of lap time, but it's the way that he's doing it that kind of catches you off guard. He doesn't look like he's going that fast. Meanwhile, you take a look at Grant, you take a look at, looks like a resurging Ashburn, possibly?
Resurgent Grant. He's been able to pick up 2 spots.
Right. So Grant trying to follow Grant and see if they can grant themselves up into the top 3 there. It's impressive. And you see there's a little look back from Stu as well. So these guys pretty aware that they've got some company behind them, and Ashburn locked onto the rear wheel of Grant Davis now as well.
So things are starting to really heat up here now as the XC2 leader of Grant Davis has came into the picture. So 4th place, we'll see. Can Davis pick up a few more and get himself up onto the podium here on the first time that he has started on the official first row of the race? Of course, having something very similar to it like at Snowshoe, but we don't quite consider that, as the start row is only 5 riders, I believe, to each start row there at Snowshoe. So not quite the same as starting on row number 1 against the 20 best here in the 2025 season.
Yeah, that was kind of the sneak peek that we had. That was the preview. Yeah. This was before the rule change was made, and we had heard some talks about it being considered and talked about there with GNCC. They made the announcement over summer break, and excited to see not only what this provides for today, but for the series moving forward.
Yeah, it's definitely making things exciting here today, especially for us. I mean, I think Stu hit the nail on the head. Going to be great for TV, great for all of you at home. Might not be so great for some of these riders out there riding, at least in their mind, but nonetheless, what's good for us is good for the sport.
That's it. That is absolutely it. Grant Davis all over that rear wheel of Grant Baylor. The Grant and Grant show back there for that final podium spot.
Stu Baylor talking about trying to make those passes in the field sections now. This is where it's really going to come into play. XC2 boy trying to make a pass on an XC1. That is going to be very, very hard for him to do. He's at a big disadvantage as far as CC goes.
Well, and it is almost interesting, Stu, in a way, almost proving himself wrong, because how many times have we seen him take a line that nobody else is taking, especially in those early laps? Sure, by the time it's all said and done, maybe the rest of the field picks up on it, but it just goes to show there's still some creativity. These guys may think they've got all the lines figured out, but sure enough, they find another way to find a different way around, and usually just a bit faster, as we saw Draper by. Now the Baylor brothers and 2 guys named Grant going at it.
Yeah, Grant Davis. And, man, how about Jordan Ashburn? Well, a little bit of distance now back to Ashburn, probably just below this drone shot.
And Grant Davis absolutely eating that roost from that 450.
Say, yeah, he sits right behind him in some of those sections.
That's like sitting behind an automatic paintball gun right there. That is tough.
So headed into the pits once again. Keep your eye.
It boards out. And fuel.
Kawasaki, yep. So Grant Baylor in.
Oh, wow. So this is definitely going to shake things up now. Wow. 450 on the power.
That's all she's got right there. That is wide open.
Man.
So Grant getting a splash of fuel. He'll drop back a little bit. So now you've got Grant Davis up into that 3 spot.
Yep, that's also going to allow Ashburn to advance up a spot there along with the long. And then Baylor going to shuffle back in right there. Stu Baylor still in the mix, though. There he is, your second place. Liam Draper was the rider that just passed your leader.
So you saw Stu take a little glance up ahead, trying to mark exactly where Draper's at.
Something that got my eyes on Ashburn. I feel like Grant Davis is going to probably be aggressive on Stu Baylor. Maybe Jordan Ashburn, he's so skilled. We see him do those like hard enduros, things like that. See if Ashburn maybe, let Grant Davis kind of cat and mouse with Stu Baylor a bit. Maybe Jordan Ashburn gets a BOGO. Just be at the right place at the right time and patience paying off.
Barnes, Kelly, and Strang passing through there. Now here comes the rest of the crew.
Russell and Wachowski still going at it. It looks like Brody Johnson making his way through.
So much action going on out here. We haven't mentioned Liam Draper still having a heck of a ride out in front. Just no worries for him right now.
Well, we saw a fair amount of patience there for Draper as well. Kind of seemed like all those XC1 boys just a bit more fired up and feisty right off the green flag. And he stayed in the mix, did what he needed to, but we didn't see him, go too hard, too fast or anything like that to where he's in this late race fatigue. Still looks like he's got great body posture, still on the charge, and still looks like if he was caught up by one of these riders, maybe has little left in the tank to defend.
While we wait for our leaders here, one thing worth noting, I don't know how much we've talked about it. Tried to stop by KTM, but they were all out and about right now. But not seeing our defending champion out here today. Everybody was hoping to get to see Gerard back in action, but not able to line up out there. Couldn't exactly tell you why, but...
Johnny actually filled us in. He had actually had a message. There's Liam Draper buzzing by. Spoke with Auntie, and that it was the hand injury, correct?
Yep,
so still lingering after ISDE. Wanted to give it a couple of weeks, but anticipating him being back before the season is up.
Yeah, and I actually shot Johnny a message before they left for Italy, and he was straight up, this is going to be rough. This is going to be brutal, and we all know how tough Johnny Gerard is. But after 6 days of not just riding, but giving it everything that you've got against some of the best in the world, doesn't feel like it's quite safe to come back yet. So Johnny definitely playing the smart thing, wait till you're 100%, come back. All obviously not quite been the season that he's wanted, not able to defend that number one, but we should see him back in time to run that number one a few more times.
Yeah, kind of in a championship hangover, if you will.
It's just tough, and we've seen that before. Craig DeLong, our first year there, Jackson, was the guy to beat, and then it came back, and it just seemed like right off the jump things weren't quite going his direction, and so we'll just have to wait and see, and have to wait and see who's going to be running that number one next year, see whether or not they can back it up as well.
Speaking of that championship hunt, we've talked pretty extensively, obviously, about Grant Davis. He's up in a top 3 position right now. The 530, Ben Kelly, back in 8th. He has got to get moving and start picking up some positions here. He is in that championship hunt, and in 8th place, not where he wants to finish. Draper buzzing through right here, and look at that gap back to Stu Baylor, the 514. There he is with his young shadow, Grant Davis.
There we see Ashburn just behind him. Looks like DeLong as well. But, yeah, to your point there, Ben Kelly, not the day that he is wanting. Points as they run right now swing in the favor of Grant Davis. It was 7 points in Kelly's favor coming into this. And looks like going to be just a bit more than that going Grant's way as they run. Plenty of racing still to go.
Well, one thing that we know from, if the past serves us right, he's going to keep charging. Grant Davis going to keep trying to move up, so possibly able to grab a few more points here in this one. But same goes for Ben Kelly back in the 8th place spot. He's definitely not going to settle for that. So, but Kelly possibly able to knock some of those points off as well. Waiting on our leaders once again.
Got to think they're going to start to work their way into some thicker lap traffic as time continues to roll on. And we talk about not just the number of bikes, but the quality and speed of those bikes as well. Lots of them in their own battles, in their own classes, sometimes not quite in a position to where they even realize that it's one of those leaders making their way through. So we'll see as things kind of switching gears now for Stu Baylor. It looked like he was looking ahead on the charge. Now offense to defense as he's got the kid all over the back of him. Grant Davis trying to make it happen. A little scrub off that time. Thought we were going to see him sky it out. Fans giving Stu some words of encouragement.
Ashburn still lingering. Ashburn's got his own shadow. The 342 Craig DeLong back there.
That's probably my standout rider so far of the day. DeLong, He was feisty off the start and had been able to maintain that pace for quite a while.
And I have to say the same about Ashburn. I'm pleasantly surprised with Jordan Ashburn here today. Seeing him on screen right there. There's Stu Baylor with Davis just right there with him. But Davis, we've saw him pass a lot of people. I don't know if we have saw him make his way around Stu Baylor for the entirety of this race.
I thought we caught him one time, but it seemed like Baylor got him right back. And that's a big point as well. Sometimes if a rider does get past you and you can immediately shut him back down, it kind of stalls the momentum a bit. But lap rider up ahead, Baylor doing a good job of making his way around it. And he opened some time up right there through that section. You watch Davis in a lot of these open sections. He stays up on the pegs, does a lot of leaning, but then we see that back end kick out as well. Johnny mentioned it. Some of those riders feel a little bit more comfortable with it. That's a slideways I'm not interested in there, but especially with these square edge bumps right now, got to be careful. Don't trust that thing too much because one tiny little chuck hole that you didn't see and you're getting chucked on the ground.
No doubt. You see Grant Davis using his upper body a lot. You really see him leaning over those handlebars, leaning back on the bike. Love the style of Davis as we watch here. Is that Grant Baylor we're seeing on screen possibly?
I think so.
It was.
See where he's able to work his way up to. And he used a lot of energy getting himself up into that podium spot.
I got to wonder, I didn't pay attention when he exited the pit whether or not he had any hydration or anything like that, but that was a big point you brought up there, Jackson, on the charge, on the attack. And then it's almost like it's like when you stop in exercise. That's when it's like really hits you all of a sudden. The heart rate spikes up. You can really feel the fatigue. So that might have been just a bit more than Baylor was hoping for. He's trying to catch that breath, regroup, and get back on the charge because, man, when he started moving his way forward, there was no stopping him.
Coming through there like an absolute freight train, waiting on our leaders right here, looking for Liam Draper, the 198. There he is on those outside lines, kick a little dust up.
Yep, trying to stay wide, stay in that thick stuff, keep the traction on his side. This is deceivingly off-cambered right here. The camera doesn't quite do it justice. You see them going way to the bottom side and using that berm to pivot the machines. As 2-lap card is out, 2 to go.
Stu and Grant Davis through, second and third. And we're getting close to that point where Grant Davis was really applying that pressure to Stu Baylor earlier in this race where Stu Baylor almost did a stopping and let him know, hey, be patient back there. I'm sure that's exactly what his words were. I'm sure of it. Right about here. Grant a little more patient right there. Said, I don't think I'm going to get him right here. We're gonna reset. Ashburn right there as well.
What a section that they have going down through there.
So 2-lap card is out. Draper checking in, bringing out the 2-lap card. Got some grilled meats down there. Head on down. Get yourself a glizzy. That's a pretty solid setup, yeah.
There we go, Liam Draper. Oh, almost gets together with a lap rider.
Great heads-up riding there from Draper. That could have been huge.
Seeing Ashburn still right there in that 4th place spot, chasing after Grant Davis. There goes Craig DeLong now, your 5th place rider.
pretty good gap back to the rest of the pack. Is it, let's see. They have checked in. Barnes, Grant Baylor, Ben Kelly, 8th, Strang 9th, and rounding out that top 10, Angus Reardon. So Ben Kelly still got a lot of work to do here with 2 laps left.
And we saw this race before, especially on the ATV side, be almost a deciding factor in the championship. This very well could be right here. You do not want to give Grant Davis any room as far as those points go. He's been solid all season long. Both of those boys going to be under the KTM tent. That's one thing about it. You always want to be the top dog.
That's it. Now, Pro Yamaha, Liam Draper leading the way.
Here we go, Draper on screen, and Baylor's made up some time on him, and he's brought Davis along with him.
He has. He's just looking, was it 3.5 seconds when they checked in?
Yep, 3.5 the gap between Draper and Baylor.
And there's your last lap times. 28:47, Grant Davis.
Shout out Cody Barnes there on the Phoenix Honda as well, 28:48. So solid late moto ride for Barnes. Ooh, big hook right there for Davis. That's a little more Baylor style right there. Slamming into it, moving the earth out of the way.
Davis reached up, messed with his goggles there. Not sure if he was sliding and pulling a roll off or what exactly he might have been doing, but that cost him a few bike links there.
Well, you got to wonder. I mean, we've seen it in, I believe it was yesterday. We saw Neil with the streamer behind him there of the roll-off lens. You got to wonder whether or not potentially something jumping up and smacking those lenses as well here today, especially like we talked about, Jackson. Davis not scared to just sit behind the rear wheel and eat some roost.
Yeah, good point.
Keeping our eyes on that the Draper out in front and Stu Baylor in second. Stu Baylor looks to really be applying the pressure. And we'll see, hey, who's coming out of the woods first here? Is it going to be the 198 or the 514?
The question on my mind is, Stu Baylor going to need a splash of gas in this one?
Yeah.
Here we go. Stu Baylor is in striking distance now of Lee and Draper as they make their way back onto the field.
You see Stu going wide, trying to really square that corner off, stays in the thick stuff, a good drive. Oh man, beautiful job right there, cutting down on that corner.
These riders all choosing to go to the inside line, guarding that inside very well. Grant Davis back into the picture now, about an equal gap between your first, second, and third place. Awesome, Stu Baylor with a little bobble. Got to lose a little bit of time to Davis here. And gains it right back.
Davis just in the dust right now. Jumps into that inside to outside. Just fearless. Man, Stu loving that wide grass run.
Well, and grass is very rarely where we think of traction.
Right?
We think of it being slick, but in conditions like this, that's exactly what you want.
Here we go.
Here we go.
And
wide line.
Baylor, side by side. Stu Baylor going to go to the inside. Liam Draper to the outside. Stu with a good drive through the inside. It's going to set him up on the outside, and he gets it.
Man, props to Stu Baylor right there, too. There's definitely the potential to run that a little deeper into the Pro Yamaha. Tons of respect between Draper and Baylor as well. And then look at this, the kid.
Oh, boy. Grant Davis no longer being patient back there. Wants it.
That back end kicking as well. Got to wonder, I believe Davis on the scoop, and in those hard packed sections, just not quite able. You can tell how hard he wants to get on the throttle. Just tired, not quite able to hold in those conditions.
New leader. Into the woods we go. Stu Baylor leading it. Draper in the 2 spot. Grant Davis in 3rd, and you could throw a baby blanket over him at this point.
Yeah, those 3 are closing. You can tell Grant Davis said, I'm not following Liam Draper. I'm following Stu Baylor, and that's the way I want to keep it. Trying to make a move, and we can see through the trees. It looks like Davis still pushing the issue, and he is. They are wheel to wheel as they get back on a straightaway. A look over from Draper. He knows that he is right there.
Man, Stu doing what he needs to do. I think by the urgency of Stu Baylor, I think he's got to be coming in, anticipating that splash of gas at this point. Using a lot of throttle to make those moves. So, yeah, if you're Stu, haul the mail right now. Put as much of a gap between those guys as you can.
Well, he's listening right now, Mikey. Wow, opened it up just a couple of bike lanes. And got to think, he knows what Grant Davis has got.
100%.
He respects the skills of Davis. He's got to think, okay, Draper, he's not going to roll over and let this kid by here. Hopefully they'll slow each other down. Meanwhile, I can sneak away, try to get enough time. Be curious to see what the team does. The Gatorade bottles worth of fuel. Just try to get it in there as quick as possible.
Plan it out perfect if he can cross the finish line in first and it runs out of gas. If he needs to refuel before a podium, so be it.
That team will carry the bike on the back
absolutely.
of the podium.
No doubt. So Stu Baylor out in front, 5-1-4. Draper has led a large majority of this race. He's been pretty sensational to this point and still in the hunt. Ashburn back and forth, and DeLong rounding out that top 5. Still keeping our eyes on the 530 of Ben Kelly. See if he is able to pick up some positions. Grant Davis still in that 3 spot. Things get a little worse as far as the point standings are concerned if Grant Davis is able to pick up another position, which you'd almost anticipate if Baylor does come in for fuel. Draper, as of right now, would take back that first place position, but that would also move Grant back up to second.
Yeah, that could change things around for Ben Kelly in a hurry.
And taking a look on screen, had a little mismathing there. I can't say anything. All right, I'm not the best at it either. This is what the points would look like as they run right now. So as they sit, it would give Grant Davis a 5-point advantage over Ben Kelly.
It's just, I mean, in reality, a 5-point spread, that still comes down to mano a mano, right? Like, you get into the next race, you just got to beat the guy in front of you. This is good. This is great for us, man. Races or championships that come down to Ironman at the end of the year just doesn't get much better than that, especially being that tight.
Well, and in kind of a never-before-seen situation for the overall championship.
And I said this an hour into the race. Now we're 2 hours, 15 minutes into it. You know, obviously a lot of debate about the change of putting the top 20 on row number 1. My opinion is I'm a big fan of it. This has been awesome. Like, today has just been, you throw everything out. It's just man versus man. Nobody can use, I won't say it an excuse because it's in the rules, right? From row 2, the time adjustment. This is just Grant Davis versus the guys out front, and it's been awesome to watch.
Well, they may still argue that he could follow the lines because he went down in turn 3.
True.
So we'll see.
There you go. So there we go. Jordan Ashburn starting to join that group there.
And you saw the lap riders getting into the mix as well. DeLong kind of in no man's land just a bit for the moment. Still running strong inside that top 5. A solid run from the 342 Rockstar Husqvarna. And there is Cody Barnes as well on that Phoenix Racing Honda.
There's Ben. Ben with Josh Strang just behind him.
Good ride for Strang as well in that 9th place spot. Kelly, you could see that was kind of an unusual style right there. Just Kelly doesn't quite seem comfortable. Maybe missed the mark on bike setup just a bit. Brody Johnson making his way through.
Yeah, I'm with you. Kelly's just has not, the shots we've seen, does not look like himself. And time is ticking for Ben Kelly.
There is Grant Baylor now, so losing a ton of time.
Yeah, Grant's got to find some of that lap 4 speed he had.
Sitting well out of the top 10 right now.
You got to wonder whether or not he gave it all he had and quite hasn't been able to recover from it.
Yeah, possibly pushing a little bit too hard, and our camera's not picking up. Something that's happened. Not sure exactly what has transpired here with Grant Baylor. One thing we do know is he's got some ground to make up if he wants to get back up there with the lead group of riders. But hey, what a show Grant Baylor put on.
Yeah, this is stellar. It was the prelude to Stu saying you can't make it happen. It was pretty good. So, new leader, Stu Baylor out in front. trying to hang on for a win here at the Buckwheat 100. Would be Stu's third win of the year, but we have had absolutely everything that you would want out of this race. We saw the charge by Grant Baylor. Had to come in here and get a splash of fuel. Has slowed his momentum just a bit. We'll see if he can get back in the fight. Liam Draper's been sensational today. Has led much of this race up until recently. We're the 514. Making the grown man move to get out in front and snag that lead. 2-lap card is out, courtesy of Ricky Towery. Grant Davis still in the mix. How's it going to shape up? We'll be right back after this.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda Tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda Tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gasket seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best inside their engine. Cometic Gaskets are always constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environments. Whether it's a championship on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts alike depend on Cometic. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
It takes commitment, passion, and endurance to make something great. Made by champions, for champions.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready. And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Taking a look over the last, 5 years. Grant Davis picking up what was his first win here, and as far as the overall is concerned, last year. And then Craig DeLong, 23. Stu Baylor, 2022. And Ben Kelly in 21. And Stu Baylor back in 20. Rounding out your top 5 last winners. And yeah, that's a very good point. This is also the track where Stu Baylor kind of saw a championship slip away and took out those frustrations on an unsuspecting pole for the awning for the rig. But hey, I'd probably done the same thing. No shade there. Watching the leaders come through right here. Order still pretty much sits as it was, and I think we've got, there goes Caleb Russell. I think we've got a graphic up here. Third time's a charm. We got confirmation from our man Johnny G. This is even better. It just keeps getting better. So that's okay. We'll take it. We wanted it to be correct. Grant Davis, as they stand on the track right now, If they were to leave out here and finish exactly where they're at, Grant Davis would be 208 on the year, Ben Kelly 207 on the year. So a 1 point difference, and to the point we were making earlier, that's just whoever finishes better here moving forward, a mano a mano. And if it stays that way when we get to round 13 at the Ironman, what a way to cap off the season. So regardless, it's tight. We know that. But yeah, it's good, man. This is it's a good problem to have here. And Stu Baylor leading the way. We just saw Grant Baylor buzz through there. Grant trying to find some of that speed he had earlier in this one. And we'll see if he's able to make it happen. So Stu Baylor, Liam Draper, Grant Davis. And we are also anticipating Stu Baylor having to take not a full fuel stop, but at least a splash of fuel is what we're anticipating.
Whoa, look at this.
Change up.
Now we see Grant Davis coming back into the picture and in the second place spot this time. So it's Stu Baylor, Grant Davis, and now Liam Draper back to the third place spot. And Draper better not look back because he's got some company back there from Ashburn as well as we pan back to the mile 7 of Stu Baylor, the FMF PowerPoint. And Stu putting the power down through this one.
So things heat up even more. Stu Baylor leading, Grant Davis in the 2 spot, Draper in 3rd now. Ashburn still lurking, DeLong still lurking.
Ashburn, we've got company from DeLong. Cody Barnes making some time up, it looks like,
Barnes
as well. Don't forget, he had one of the, I believe, the second fastest lap time that last time around. Ben Kelly's a bit resurged as well. Looks like he's gotten around, I believe he was already around Baylor last we saw. Grant Baylor, that is.
So yeah, once again, to update everybody that's at home, Stu Baylor, to start this one out on lap number 3, I do believe it was, had to come in.
Correct.
He had a little bit of dirt in his goggles, some debris in his goggles, so he had to swap goggles. While they did it, they put in gas. That means he got to miss his original pit stop that everybody else took. So therefore, he probably is going to need more than likely, he is going to need a splash of gas to be able to get that bike to the finish line. So that is going to make things interesting. Feet come off the pegs.
They were too.
So watching now, Stu Baylor as he gets a little out of sorts, but not losing any time. Still going to be a few bike lengths ahead of Grant Davis, and then about a few bike lengths back from that is going to be Liam Draper. So not much separating these top 3 whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like we were talking a little bit off air. You know, Stu Baylor, a guy hard on the throttle, man. He twists that thing. And for him to be in a battle, a dogfight right now, he's got to hold these guys off to give him, because if Grant gets around him, if Liam gets around him, they can push. He needs as much time in his favor if he's got to come in for fuel as he can get.
Yeah, a splash of fuel might put him back at least into the 5th place spot if he isn't able to get in and out of there within just a couple of seconds.
Well, that's the thing. While the strategy may have been thought through, I don't know if they prepared for this close of battles all the way through the top 5 and then some, as Barnes looks like he's trying to close down that gap a little bit as well.
I don't know if it's that they didn't plan for it or if you can't do nothing about it in a situation like this, because Stu said in his interview that he knew that we were going to be tied, that you could possibly throw a blanket over everybody. So it's just one of those situations. What do you do in this situation?
Well, and by no means can I put myself in Stu Baylor's shoes, but it's not like we've never seen these guys ride without goggles before.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of a question with that, but these guys not scared to do some different pit strategies, not trying to figure things out. Let's see. Stu bypasses the pits.
Whoa. No pit for Stu.
Yeah, we still have one more lap left to go. He's going to be in a position where he is going to...
Yeah, it's going to come down to the final few miles. It literally would be like a Gatorade bottle's worth of fuel.
Yep.
The teams and the minds behind these riders, they've got it. They've got the calculators out. They're trying to get everything figured out as far as the MPG and what they can get out of these machines as well. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. These guys, they've shown before, not scared to take a chance. Davis still right there, as is Draper.
And this is what's going to hurt Stu Baylor. There's Ashburn still right there in that 4th place spot, not far back to Craig DeLong.
So Stu still leading it. Davis in that 2 spot. Bypasses the pit. He will have one more opportunity, and if he does, I mean, he'd be checking in for splash by. Go get it.
And just so everybody at home is aware, here in the pro ranks, they do have to pit at their
Correct.
semi. So no pitting on the side of the track here.
Yeah, ruling is they run out of fuel, they can get enough to get enough in the bike to get them back to the pits.
So seeing the entire group go by, there was Russell making his way through with Brody Johnson very close. And now back up to our leader, Stu Baylor.
Man, look at that.
Grant
That is
Davis
tight.
is not letting go. And there it is, all 5 of them.
Yeah, that's a freight train. I mean, at this point, if you're Stu, send it, man. It's just go for it. Go for broke, because I think if he does come in next lap around, if it's still this tight, he's going to lose several positions.
Could we see Stu Baylor try to make it to the finish line?
Holy smokes.
And that's going to be going for broke. That's a win or lose situation for him. If he does not make it to the line, that is going to be it for the day. That's possibly a no-point scoring day for him.
It's got me nervous. He's in control. He's got it.
Continuing to watch here at this mile 9 marker. Here we go. Stu Baylor on the way through. Oh, look at that. Liam Draper taking a tree with him.
Little sapling. Never stood a chance.
Well, we talked about, we look at Grant Davis, and this is not necessarily a new position to see him in. We talked about the big difference about him starting on row 1, but maybe it was a strategy for Davis as well. I'm going to lay it over in turn 3, let everybody get right back to where I'm used to being, follow those lines, and then you can start to pick off the competition. Obviously, I'm joking, but nonetheless, Davis, an incredible charge, back end of that top 20. He was 20 going into the woods. Actually had to stop again to get those bars straightened out and started to pick them off one by one. And it wasn't long before we saw him to the top of the XC2 field and already inside that top 5 overall. So Davis once again showing he's got what it takes to slice through the field. But once you start getting to those top 3, top 4, it's a little bit harder to cut through.
Yeah, completely different ball game getting around a rider like Stu Baylor. But Grant Davis giving it his best shot right now. And going to pick back up with our leaders here in just a moment. Watching through the trees here at the mile 9.
So 2.5 hours here into this approximately 3-hour-long race. And that man right there, Stu Baylor, trying to do what he's got to do to get her done. Davis trying to repeat the first overall win last year for him. And that hillside has continued to get chewed up throughout the day. Back end's just dancing around.
And there's Ben Kelly, the man who's just out of that fight with those front runners. Almost needs something to happen for him to get up in there with those guys. And they're just, I got to think, in most sections out of sight as well. That's just a tough position to be in, unable to just key off of anybody.
Yeah, those top 5, they're really keying off of each other. They're not slowing each other down from the looks of it, just continuing to push that pace.
5 laps. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, as we get deep into this one, Mikey, there's going to be some lap riders coming into play. And Zach talked about it earlier about how these guys are racing their race too. Not only that, they're racing for a championship, just like these guys we see on screen right now are. And you don't want to give up those spots. These guys are very good about trying to let the pro riders by, but sometimes trying to let them by causes more trouble than just continuing to race and letting the riders by. So this could get very dramatic by the end of this one.
There we go. Stu Baylor out in front. We just had on the Yamaha Racing live drone, you had all 5 of those front runners in the same camera shot. Oh, a little washout right there. Nice little save.
That was DeLong, I believe, and it was. So going to welcome back Johnny G into the booth. Too much action. He couldn't couldn't stand back any longer.
I went and watched some racing, guys. I was out there in the woods and just watching these guys do battle, and man, they are sending it. That is the only way to describe it. And obviously the drama building now with Stu Baylor bypassing his pits. We've actually got OPAG working on getting an exact time when he last took fuel and what our expected time of completion for this race will be. And Matt is going to tell us how long Stu Baylor is trying to stretch that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV-MC Kawasaki on a tank of fuel. It's going to be not quite, but approaching 2 hours, somewhere in the 150-plus range. And man, that is a long way to go on a tank of fuel. It's not impossible, but it is such a gamble. But Stu Baylor has never been one to play it safe. We talk about this is the fearless leader of that team. And, by his own kind of detriment, just our last race, although it was over 2 months ago, at Snowshoe, Josh Toth, the team all but trying to drag him into the pits to change that rear tire that had lost all the knobs on it. They ran that gummy tire. And it's like you're looking at gambling. I mean, you win or lose, you got to take a chance sometimes. Josh Toth did. It paid off, winning that overall by a fraction of seconds by not stopping and changing that rear wheel. Stu Baylor maybe learning something from that and saying, hey, as close as this race is, I'm going to give up at least 4 spots if I stop right now. And I'm just going to go for it. He will have an opportunity to stop again when they come by, although it will be just a short section of racetrack leading to the finish, just a few miles. But it still would cut probably 4 or 5 minutes off that time, which we're anticipating. Our producer Adam Gordon telling us that was right around the 1 hour mark that he came in and got fuel. Another thing to take into consideration, guys, when you fuel the bike during the race, it typically doesn't get full. There's an air bubble within that tank that while they're allowing it to escape, now we'd have to go back and watch the pit. Did they what we call burp the can, where they'll actually go, they'll pull the can for a second, and they'll hit it again, and it'll get precious ounces in that second time around. The way those dry brake fuel systems work, we don't talk about it, but it's an air exchange system. So the air coming out of the tank is what actually pressurizes the fuel cell that then pushes the fuel can, which pushes that fuel into the tank, which is what it allows it to exchange so quickly. But in the case of this, when it's a warm day like it is today, not that it's hot, but that air will sometimes create a bubble within the tank, and it'll tell the can that it's full, even when it's not. So you're not actually starting with a full tank like you would be. You see them on the starting line. They got that little fuel bottle. They push down the dry brake receiver, and they pour it in there. That is every possible ounce of fuel that you can get in there. That does not happen when you take it. Okay, and we are told, our producer Adam Gordon telling us they just rewatched the tape. They burped the tank, meaning they got it as close to full as you possibly can under race conditions. But what a gamble, and it's great excitement for us here at Racer TV as we're watching the battle on screen for the overall lead. And Grant Davis, inside out, trying to do everything he can to get around Stu Baylor.
Yeah, he sure is. He has not took one line that Stu Baylor has, trying to find any way around. And speaking of that pit stop, our man Zach Heron is headed down to the Kawasaki pits. He'll be up close and personal, so we'll know exactly what's going on to finish this one out.
As they dip back into the woods, we saw Stu Baylor there and Grant Davis applying the pressure. We have seen that almost exact shot from both of those guys. Looks like the hot dogs are done down here by the fans. Young man's got his arm in a sling. Not the weekend he wanted, but he's enjoying some hot dogs and watching Stu Baylor and Grant Davis go to work. On cue, there's Stu buzzing past and gets a little bit of breathing room back to Grant, but not much. These two, well, I was going to say starting to spread it out a little bit. They have not. Those top 5, well, top 4, a little bit. By comparison, a little more separation than what we've seen, but by all rights, still very, very tight.
Guys, I did step out, so I don't know what I missed here, but going by live timing and scoring, Grant Baylor has now dropped back to the 13th place spot. What happened there?
Had to get a splash of fuel, and after that has just not been able to rebound from that.
I did see the splash of fuel. I actually made myself a sandwich, and I got to tell you guys, I watched you guys on Racer TV on YouTube in the camper. Great show. You guys do a phenomenal job.
So
I would absolutely love to just sit back and watch this racing action. The folks at home really have the best seat in the house. If you're here at the track, obviously the dust flying around, the sound of the engines. It's really hard to beat that. But when you're back, I was in the comfy AC, I was watching the screen, made myself a sandwich, had a little bubbly water, and you guys were doing a phenomenal job of bringing the action. So thank you guys so much. And that was the first time I've ever done that. I've never watched Racer TV during a show. I've gone back and rewatched the shows after.
Well, everybody at home thinks that we're sitting in the AC right now.
We are not.
What do you mean? We have a mini split just above us, heat and AC.
Heat and AC.
Yeah, going into the other room.
No, that's actually for us now. It just doesn't work yet.
They just don't turn it on.
It's a beautiful day. We're not complaining. We're getting to call some of the best racing action on the planet here at the Buckwheat 100. And 1, 2, 3, 4 riders through in that shot. And here comes number 5. Craig DeLong still very much in the mix for this win. We're talking about Grant Davis. We're talking about Stu Baylor. But we've got 5 riders that you could throw a baby blanket.
Not a big blanket, baby blanket.
Mikey Wayne say there. And, they're all on screen. They're all battling, and the track continues to get rougher and rougher and more chewed up. Liam Draper kind of making a charge back now, leading so much of this race early on and still in the mix here, even after having passed the white flag. And this is the final time that these riders will see each of these sections of racetrack, and I think they're going to be good and done with it for a 7-lap race. They're going to say, we'll see you next year, Buckwheat.
Cody Barnes, 28:49.
He's the fastest man on the track that time around.
Yep, and very much in the mix, sitting back there, only 15 seconds behind Craig DeLong, and continuing to try to claw and make up ground. The points gap opening up now. It would be a 4-point lead for Grant Davis if they finish this way, with Ben Kelly still sitting back there, now in the number 7 spot, but was back in that number 8 spot previously. So he made up 1 point, but with Grant Davis going from 3rd all the way to 1st, he went from 21 points for 3rd to 2nd. He is now 25 points in 2nd. Now, if he can get around Stu Baylor, another 5 bonus points, which would mean he would add that much more to the tally he would carry into round 11 here in just 2 weeks of racing. Leaders on screen.
Woo. So there we go. Stu Baylor makes his way back into the field with Grant Davis just behind him, a few lap riders in front of him. The lap rider's going to have plenty of room to get out of the way. What did you see, Johnny?
That bottle handoff for Liam Draper, obviously wanting some hydration. That's a very fast corner.
Oh, Stu Baylor just having some troubles. He had to lock it up for some reason, and that allowed Davis to get right there with him, but Davis not able to make the pass.
Was almost in the same line, had to jump out, and unable to make it pay off, and Grant going back to work wants it.
Hanging it out. This is where we've seen Stu Baylor typically running that Talladega line way up on the bank, but he's not going to leave the door open for Grant Davis at all this time. He's making sure he's in tight enough to pinch off that corner and stop Grant Davis from being able to sneak around the inside, but Grant Davis is going to try it again. Every corner, these guys are just all over each other.
And this is a 250 versus a 450cc machine. You cannot tell that right now, but no doubt Grant Davis a little bit outpowered in this one, and still making it work somehow, some way. He is right there, going to go to the inside. Could this be it, boys?
Small mistake right there by Baylor. Oh, Baylor, good save.
Feet off the pegs.
And that might be the tale of the tape. That might be the tale of the race right here. Look at that. Grant Davis now opening up not just 1 or 2 bike links, but several, as he overtakes that lead. Stu Baylor back in the 2nd place spot, and Liam Draper still going to be holding on to that final podium position.
Guys, not to speculate here, but watching, did it almost look like Stu Baylor dabbed and caught his foot there, and that was pretty tender through those next couple corners? Looked like he's getting up to speed, but I think he may have really taken a hard stab with that right foot.
Speaking of which, I believe we have got Zach Herron down in the Kawasaki pits.
A lot of conversation going on with the team. You guys trying to decide what the plan is as far as fuel goes. It's going to be as close as it can possibly get. Just kind of talk about the options that we're weighing and what we think we might be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been doing the math on the fuel, and we're guessing, our best guess is going to be, we're going to be at 1 liter to just under 1 liter left. However, we may still do a splash and dash. There's still some discussion going on with the team right now. Obviously, if you're going to err to the side of caution, we're going to do a splash and dash. However, we also know that Stu likes to just send it, and he's in a heated battle right now with Grant. So we really, truly have not decided yet. If we send him, we're going to be close.
All right, well, you guys have a lot to think about. They're going to leave it in Stu's hand, maybe a drip and rip. We're going to have to wait and see.
I was going to say, honestly, at this point, you make it available to him. If Stu wants it, he's coming in for it. If Stu wants to send it, Stu's going to send it. That's
a leader.
That's what I was about to say. We are not working with gallons. We are working with liters right now.
And a liter, folks, a 2-liter bottle, it's a pretty good size. Half of that.
Half it.
And again, we're back to fueling under race conditions. Fuel does expand under heat. It's just above the motor. And in a lot of cases, especially when you take off, it's not super hot today, but, we do have a lot of sunshine. Those motors are getting hot. When it builds pressure in the tank, there are one-way valves in those tanks. But in order to vent, sometimes it will push a little bit of fuel out. So you're calculating based off what you think hypothetically is in the tank. Oof. Any little tip over that lets any fuel out through that one-way valve, any pressure in that tank that builds, those are precious ounces at this point. At some point, you're down to ounces. You're no longer at liters. And but those guys have run the math. Obviously, they're professionals. They know what the tank holds. They know what they think they put in. And this is exciting. And now we see the points gap as it runs. 9 points to the good for Grant Davis. Ben Kelly sitting back there in that number 7 spot, needing to make some moves to gain valuable points to get himself closer to Grant Davis with only 3 rounds of racing remaining in the 2025 season once the checkered flag flies here today.
This is going to be a good one. Doug and the crew down at Kawasaki, no doubt about it. They know exactly what they need to do here in this one. It is going to be a good one. And also, thank you to Doug there in this heated moment, still making sure that Racer TV knows what's going on.
Transparency, that's awesome that they're willing to share that information. And honestly, I can't say that I necessarily think that trying to run to the finish line to grab the win is the greatest idea, but at the same time, when you look at the points as they run,
that's what I was
Stu Baylor sitting back there in that 4th place spot with as they run or prior to the season or prior to the race, 139 points, 58 points out of the lead. That's a big gap. Is he still in the hunt for the championship? Sure. Is it likely? Not so much. So race wins are so important. I almost think that Stu Baylor, he took a shot. The team decided to take a shot. And again, with the way this racetrack is set up, we have a few miles between the pro pits and the finish line. That leader becomes greater once you take those few miles out of the equation. He could come in for a splash, but if he's not able to get back around Grant Davis and to get away with the lead, it's going to make it that much harder for him to make that decision.
And there they go right now, making their way through here at the mile 4 marker. So our top 5 have made it through this camera shot, and it didn't look like any position changes that I could see from here. So
Cody Barnes pushing hard and looking like he's maybe a little bit closer than that 15 seconds to Craig DeLong.
Whew, things are getting hot and heavy here in this one. Down to our final lap, down to our final few minutes, and there was Ben Kelly. Sorry, Johnny.
Yep, you're good. There's Ben Kelly. There's Josh Strang. There's Mike Witkowski. That is back through the 10th place as they run. Actually, it looks like Witkowski has now gotten around Reardon.
There went Reardon right there.
So Witkowski up to 9th. There is Caleb Russell in 11th.
So there we go. Our top 11 through here at the mile 4 mark. Final lap.
All right, well, we have had everything but the kitchen sink here today. It's been absolutely insane. Several lead changes. Right now, the man out in front, Grant Davis, the Playboy. He can do it from row 2 in the XC2. We come out, line up the top 20 on row number 1, and Grant Davis says, I can still make it happen. Doesn't matter. I want to line up. I want to race. I want to win. He's in a heated battle with Stu Baylor. Stu Baylor in that number 2 spot. And fuel. We're talking liters. We're talking ounces. How is it going to play out? This one is all but over. And we get to watch it all shake down when we come back after a word from our sponsors, Buckwheat 100 GNCC.
On Track School is an online private school catering to some of the top athletes in the world. We offer a flexible schedule for students that are chasing their dreams and always on the go. We are an accredited K-12 school where students can graduate with a diploma. Scan the QR code or call us to book an appointment with one of our learning coaches to discuss your students' next steps.
OnTrackSchool.com. Check it out.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 laps, the main event, the mud, the blood, the beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Are you ready to rev up your race game? Look no further than Landers KTM, your ultimate trackside support. We offer top quality parts, gear, accessories, and more. Plus, enjoy free labor from our certified technicians to keep you on track. Join the passion with your local dealership right here to support all your racing needs. Our friendly staff is geared up and ready to take care of you. And don't miss out. Experience up to $500 savings on select KTM Stasics. Available in all sizes. So, what are you waiting for? Swing by Landers KTM today and let us fuel your racing dreams. Landers KTM, where your race begins.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 2025 Dunlop Buckwheat 100. What is shaping up to be a barn burner, possibly one of the best finishes that we have saw all season long, going to take place here in this one. Waiting at the mile 6 mark for your leader, which we expect to be Mr. Grant Davis.
Just an amazing race by Grant. We talked a little bit about it before the commercial break, and you know, much debate in the off season, or the summer break rather, about the change, putting the top 20 on the front lines, and how's this going to work out. I think it's worked out pretty daggone well. This has been one of the most fun races to watch in a long time.
And don't forget, started in 20th place. He crashed off of the line, had to pass back the entire first row.
You know, I go back, I don't know, it was maybe round 4, round 5, where we started saying, all right,
leader on screen.
Oh, leader, that was a leader on screen. Grant Davis buzzing through.
Now he's got a gap with a capital P.
Where is the 514?
Now it's Liam Draper into the number 2 spot.
Oh, man, and a little glitch of the camera there. Wasn't able to see.
I did not see Stu Baylor. We'll have to see if they can play that back and let us know if Stu Baylor came through. We'll find out here in the next camera shot.
Well, we may have our answer on the fuel gamble, possibly.
Well, if he runs out that early,
now,
that is a massive miscalculation. I don't think that's the case.
As we were watching the replays, as we went out, Jackson Burrow, you caught it. When he had that little get off the foot, hitting the ground, looked pretty gnarly, looked to almost be favoring that right after that little get off with the foot.
Yeah, Johnny was able to catch that. He was definitely favoring it a little bit. He really got out of shape there a little bit more than what met the eye when we watched the replay.
It's a meeting of the minds.
Around. Yeah, that is a meeting of the minds. Kawasaki, the Rocky Mountain ATV MC Red Bear team.
The radios are going off. You can see them. They're getting updates from out on the track, so they may at this point know a little bit more about where Stu Baylor's at than we do. We're going to watch our next camera shot and see if we can pick up. Is Stu Baylor still running inside the top 3? Definitely looked like he had dropped back at least to 3rd. We did see that it was definitely, from what we saw on camera, Grant Davis out front with a pretty sizable gap over Liam Draper in the number 2 spot.
Some anxious body language there as those guys continue to anticipate what's going to happen next for the 514. We hadn't talked too significantly about lap traffic, but that was pretty chunky. So getting word that Stu, radio chatter, Stu is back behind Craig DeLong, so maybe a get-off, or maybe he is nursing something, but loses a few positions.
There's your leader on screen. There is Grant Davis hopping his way through. He's now checked out. He has a significant lead over Liam Draper, the 198 Ampro Yamaha there in the number 2 spot. Third place, there is Draper. There is Ashburn, so that's second and third, and there is DeLong fourth. There is Baylor fifth. So if that leg is bothering him, still able to match the pace of your second, third, and fourth place riders. Again, could be, wow, that was an odd place the way that rear end stepped out. Wondering if maybe some type of an issue with the rear tire. The choice today, maybe starting to lose some knobs. Don't know, don't want to speculate too much, but you got to believe when the rear end steps out like that. Oh, we got to, I believe, no? Okay, it looked like somebody went down there, may have been a lap rider. So there's Draper in second, Ashburn in third, DeLong in fourth, and Baylor in fifth.
And things turning around for Stu Baylor in a hurry here in this one. Hate to see that. He has worked hard all race long for this. We saw him in the lead several times. Now to be outside of a podium position, definitely not where he wants to be.
And down to the nitty-gritty in this one, 6 laps completed. Of course, we're on the white flag. We're on the last lap. And those guys do in here now in under 10 minutes. So much anticipation about a Stu Baylor potential pit stop.
I think at this point, running in the number 5 spot, to lose one position to Cody Barnes, unless he is 100% certain he has enough fuel, you almost have to do the splash and dash or the drip and rip.
There goes Liam Draper.
Back to our leader now, Grant Davis.
I started to mention this earlier, Grant Davis. I think it was maybe round 4 this season. We started saying, okay, we're done being surprised by this young man. He's here to stay. We've mentioned it many times. His dad talking to Johnny and I at the banquet last year, and the lofty goal of going after the national championship from row 2. Yeah, this man's here to stay. I mean, we're 10 rounds into it.
This ride right now
is stellar.
It's a statement in so many ways. It's a statement in that coming back from break, not having the points lead, putting himself in position to really battle for it, to come through the pack, and the first race where they've kind of righted the advantage that he formerly had and took that away from him. Baylor looking like he might have sucked a little water there, checking up a little bit and losing just a few more bike lengths on that trio of riders in front of him. So there is Davis. There's your leader. The green number 1 of Grant Davis out front. Second place coming through now, or getting ready to come through here, is Liam Draper. There he is on that Ampro Yamaha. Then Jordan Ashburn squaring him up, trying to get any opportunity he can, and Craig DeLong badly wanting to ride himself into a podium position, and he can see second and third right there in front of him.
Some guys in the mix there. DeLong would love a podium. Ashburn would love a podium. Oh, man.
We got a pass for second. Jordan Ashburn. Liam Draper buried it into that berm, lost forward momentum, allowing Ashburn to make the pass.
And both of them having a little stall there as they went into that deep rut, now back into our pit row area.
And we should see Stu Baylor. He did lose some time there where he had to pass that lapped rider. And now he did not lose that much time, but there is Stu.
He is not.
No.
He's not in that frame.
Cody Barnes has gotten around Stu Baylor.
Where is Stu Baylor? I have to wonder, maybe...
is that Stu right there?
I don't think so.
I don't believe so. That has been Kelly.
Oh,
we've lost Stu Baylor.
Boy, I don't think we missed him. I saw one of our mechanics from Cali on the e-bike.
Here's another interesting rule, folks. If he has had to stop and get fuel, or they have to get him fuel, he will still have to stop at the Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Semi. It looks like a bunch of people congregating down there to the right. I think they may be around Stu Baylor, and they're trying to get fuel to him. But he will still need to stop at the semi, or he will receive a penalty.
Yeah, correct.
Wow. Because you can only get enough fuel out on the racetrack to get yourself back to your designated pro pit area, where you must take fuel. Doesn't matter if it's 1 ounce. You must take fuel unless the finish line is before your designated pro pit area. So this could loom large.
Man.
All right, I'm headed down to the finish line. I don't want to. I'd rather stay and watch this one.
Leave. This has been all the drama you could imagine as far as the 514 is concerned, and Grant Davis out in front, just making it happen. Absolutely making it happen. To go as a young man, Grant Davis, unrattled by the rough start. He was in 20th place heading into the woods, kept his head down and chipped away at it, and finds himself out in front and poised to take a win where he got his first overall win here last year, trying to back it up.
Looking at our on-track scoring based off of our checkpoints, Stu Baylor now showing back in the 9th place position, meaning that he did, in fact, drop behind all of those riders. We did not see him come through the pits there, and we will have to get an update and find out if he was able to get himself enough fuel to get to that Red Bear Rocky Mountain ATV MC Kawasaki semi to get himself some fuel to then get to the finish line. Well, they took a shot. It may have not been fuel, though. He hit that water really, really hard, and it almost looked like the bike shut off. Could have been a situation where it just starved for air for a minute. We don't know for sure, but we'll probably get the word here in a minute. But Grant Davis wheelies his way up that bank, and he is now at the 9-mile marker of a 12-mile track and working his way towards the finish line. And another overall win here, a physical just overall crazy win. Now that he's on row 1, no time correction, he has gone out, banged bars with these guys. There is second place Ashburn. There is Draper in third. There is DeLong in fourth.
Taking a look at the top 20 coming into this and who has wins this year. Ben Kelly's got 2 under his belt. Stu Baylor's got 2 under his belt. Grant Davis has 2 wins under his belt. This would be his 3rd win of the year. 3rd overall win of the year, giving him more than anybody else.
Shout out to Cody Barnes. He has made up a lot of that 15-second gap and is now much closer to the back of Craig DeLong, sitting in that 5th place spot overall.
I was going to say, Ben Kelly inherited a couple of positions. He's moved up, stops alleviates some of the bleeding as he was back there quite a ways.
But he gains 1 more spot. He was in 8th, then it was 7th, now it's 6th. Those are only 1-point gaps.
Correct.
So Grant Davis was in 3rd. It was a 4-point jump to go to 2nd, then a 5-point jump to go to the lead. So that's 9 points he's picked up when Ben Kelly only picked up 2.
Yeah.
Here comes your leader. Heavy lap traffic.
Look out, folks. Freight train's coming. The number one on the jersey. 922 on scoring. That's Grant Davis. Trying to bring it in. And there is, I believe, your points update as they run. 217, 209. There goes Draper. There goes DeLong. Ashburn, I believe, I just missed him. I glanced at our scoring computer, but I think Ashburn's still in that number 2 spot. Great ride for him. Or no, what's that? Oh, that might have been Barnes. That was Barnes and then Ben Kelly.
There's Strang. There's your 7th place. Next up should be Reardon in 8th, and then Baylor in 9th. There, almost looked like
I think that was Wachowski. Still no signs of the 514. Man, what a tough break for Stu Baylor. Still.
Sometimes you roll the dice.
Well, all eyes on Grant Davis. Just cannot say enough about this young man.
He's sprinting like he's still running. I don't think he realizes the gap that he has. But you can never be too safe.
Pure adrenaline. I mean, just absolutely crazy the things that we have seen him do for now, almost a season and a half now.
Ashburn in the number 2 spot. Some lap riders in front of him, and pressure from behind from the 198 of Draper and the 342 of DeLong. And Davis now up to the next section of racetrack. This is it. The final miles. The final mile, singular.
Yeah, how about this? Grant Davis, your leader on screen, 922 on scoring. He's rocking the number 1 as he is the defending XC2 champion. With lofty goals in 2025, wants to capture an overall title from row 2. Of course, the decision after summer break, we're going to put the top 20 on row number 1. Grant Davis says, I don't care what you guys do. I'm going to go get me a win. And he has proved that here today. He's had tough battles with Stu Baylor, Liam Draper. He had a 20th place start heading into the woods off of the start. Nothing matters. Grant Davis, just a man on a mission. Just absolutely. It's like watching him ride. It's like organized chaos. I mean, he is in control, but just lays it all out. Back into the woods goes the number 1 of Grant Davis, a 9:22. And out of sight for the moment. We'll pick him up on the other side as the battle ensues. Ashburn, Draper, DeLong, Barnes, Kelly, Strang, Reardon, Wachowski, and Caleb Russell is how we anticipate that top 10. Baylor registering right now, I believe, back in the number 15 position and flirting with maybe a non-points day. We'll wait and anticipate that in a moment. Right now, all eyes on Grant Davis. And good point. So getting some reports, and we believe Stu now out of the top 20 in a points position, or out of a points position. What a heartbreaker. 9:22 though. Grant Davis, the Playboy, waiting on him to pop out of the woods right here, pick up what will be his 3rd win of the season as far as an overall is concerned. And more importantly, will come away from the Buckwheat 100 with a decent points lead. There he is, Grant Davis, getting the cheers and hearing the crowd as this young man, I mean, Johnny, I don't know what else to say about him. He has just been sensational. And here he is again, cool, calm, and collected into the finish line and takes his 3rd win
that is
on the season.
Excited young man right there. He worked hard for that one.
Just insane. The things he has done this year. Checkered flag obviously out. And here comes the freight train behind him. A lot of talk obviously about Grant Davis and the day that he's had. Jordan Ashburn will hang on for a 2nd place. That's his second place of the season. And Liam Draper going to round out the box. Boy, great day for our buddy Craig DeLong, finishing 4th. You know he wanted that podium, but nonetheless, it's a fantastic day for Craig.
You can see him just really needing that water. You know he worked hard for that one. The other rider's coming across. He's taking a look back over his shoulder, likely looking for the 530 of Ben Kelly, who last we saw was in the number 7 spot. As we refresh, so far only the top. Yep.
Yeah.
All the way back to 8th place, Mike Wachowski has checked in, showing you just how close the gaps. The time behind in the elapsed time, fractions of a second, then 5 seconds back to Liam Draper in 3rd, 1 second back to Craig DeLong, 32 seconds back to Cody Barnes. Something must have happened. Oh, that's 32 seconds behind Grant Davis. That's XC2 elapsed time. And then 16 seconds back to Ben Kelly, another 0.9 seconds back to Josh Strang. So Strang came in all over Ben Kelly, then Mike Wachowski, and still no Stu Baylor checked in.
Oof. It's a heartbreaking day for Stu Baylor and the Kawasaki team.
Reardon checks in 3rd place in XC2 and 9th place overall, 53 seconds behind Cody Barnes.
Grant Davis is talking with his mechanic, Andy. Andy can build one hell of a bike. Certainly showed that over the last few years. Grant Davis standing by with our man Zach Herron. And here we go, Johnny. Stu back up and rolling, but how far back? As, let's see, 10th has checked in. That's Caleb Russell. And it looks like, man, a dejected Stu Baylor crossing the finish line right there. And Stu going to settle for 11th on the day. Not where he imagined himself, I am sure. Wow. Stu makes his way right back to the pits.
We'll have to see if we can get an update and find out if he did run out of fuel or exactly what transpired there.
And it looks like our man Zach Herron standing by with Grant Davis. And take it away, Zach, all you.
All right, thanks, guys. I am down here with the man who got the job done. He crosses the finish line, kind of crossing the neck, saying, I didn't need the minute. You got it done, and you made it entertaining for us as well. You go down in turn 3, drop all the way back to the 20th place spot, and then you just start picking your way through the pack. Take us through the race and how good it feels to get this done with the brand new start technique.
Yeah, I was like, I got to get a good start today, and I got one, and I'm all pumped up about it, and I gave her too much gas in the third turn, and I fall over, but yeah, I put myself in a bad spot off the start. I just could not pass today. The passing was so hard. I was struggling so much, but made it happen that last lap on Stu in the grass track. And I kind of pulled away a little bit, put my head down, and I knew I had a little bit more pace than them guys, so I pushed and just got a good gap and then maintained it at the end, and I'm pumped to come home with the overall win and gaining them points back.
Now, 2025 has been a lot of talk about the advantage to that second row start. We changed that over summer break. Was there a little extra chip on the shoulder to show what you could do on that front row? We saw it at Snowshoe, but Snowshoe's its own beast. Here today, was there a little extra oomph in the riding?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted the win today for sure. Snowshoe, I went to prove it, and I had a bike problem, but today I'm pumped on how I rode. I'm really comfortable on my bike right now, and I'm ready to bring it at the next race.
There it is. Grant Davis gets the job done. Doesn't matter what row he starts in, he crosses the line in first.
Well, there you have it. He said didn't need the minute, but got it done.
He's just sensational. I cannot say enough about that young man. If you don't like watching that, well, you just don't like watching racing. I don't know what to tell you. Stellar ride by Grant Davis, taking the win. We're going to get interview lined up. Jackson Burrow going to be talking with Jordan Ashburn on that factory gas. A heck of a ride by him. His second place finish of the season. Some great consistent riding by him. And then, of course, we'll get in a word with the 198 Ampro Yamaha of Liam Draper as well. A little shot from the Yamaha Racing live drone of all the action and the bench racing going on. And there he is. Jackson Burrell, take it away with Jordan Ashburn.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with Jordan Ashburn, our second place here today. Jordan, what a ride, man. What a day it was out there. This is one for the books. That was quite the race you guys put on. And you're making it a streak now to be up here on the podium. Take us through your day at the Buckwheat.
Yeah, you know, we had the different format today, and it was a straight-up race, XC1, XC2, and just found myself battling, you know, top 3, top 4 all day, and man, a lot of passes made today on a track that was hard to pass. I mean, everybody was kind of just sending it back and forth. But Grant got by me, and then I knew he was charging to the front, so I was trying to stay with him and just trying to pick everyone off to try to get back in the front. And that last lap, made a few passes and got to the lead and XC1, I guess. But, man, it was awesome. What a day of racing, and just thank God for letting me to be out here and giving me this opportunity.
Well, great job out there today, Jordan. We're officially back into the swing of GNCC race. In a couple weeks, we'll be headed to the Mountaineer. How you feeling going into that one?
Good, man. That was a really dusty one last year, and we was able to win that race. So to come off of this with such a good finish and kind of streak them together, I'm really excited. We made a big switch this weekend and went back to the 450. Been riding a 350 all year this year, and I think that was a huge step forward for me again. So look forward to racing the rest of the year and putting in the center of the box.
We look forward to it as well. That is Jordan Ashburn, your second overall, first in the XC1 class.
There you go, Jordan Ashburn, like in the 450, said he's looking forward to putting it center of the box. I like to hear that out of Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan, a rider that rides with a lot of throttle control, can really kind of control that 450 better than some of the other riders, and you know, he's ridden so many brands. He obviously, just from what he said there in the interview, sounded like he's meshing with that 350 gas a little better than the, or 450 gas a little better than the 350, and showing it today with a very impressive second place overall performance.
Good job by him, and looks like Jackson Burrell standing by with the 198 Ampro Yamaha of Liam Draper.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with Liam, our third overall, second in the XC1 class. Liam, that was quite a race for you. We saw you up in the first place spot for a while, saw you back a little ways, able to finish it off on the podium. Take us through it.
Yeah, it was a good day. I love this place, and I was looking forward to this race. I've been putting in some work this off season down in Florida with Zacho, so it's been good, and I was looking forward to today. And I got an okay start and kind of just worked my way through a few guys and found myself in the lead. And it was one of those rides that was coming kind of easy to me, and I was riding good. And then right before the 2-lap board came out, I went down And then after that, I could really nearly find my flow again, and my shoulders were cramping and my arms, but hung in there, and yeah, it's a solid day, I guess.
Yeah, hung in there indeed, man. That was a great day, a great race for all of you guys. How you feel headed in the Mountaineer in just a couple weeks?
Yeah, super excited for the Mountaineer. I love that place too, the rocks. I live in PA, West Virginia, so all I ride is kind of rocky stuff, so looking forward to that.
Well, there we go, guys. That's Liam Draper, your 3rd place overall.
Liam putting in the work in the summer break with Zacho, paying off, putting it on the podium. And I think I believe we're going to try and get an interview with Craig DeLong, finishing just off the box, man, in that fight with those guys.
But 3rd place in XC1.
But
so
3rd
still
place
on
in
the
XC1.
XC1
Yeah, good point.
podium.
Good point.
And we'll have to see. Obviously, we already got our XC2 winner, Grant Davis. And then, obviously, Cody Barnes, 2nd place in that XC2, and Gus Reardon in the number 3 spot in that XC2 battle.
We'll see.
We can hear Craig in the background, and it looks like our man Zach Aaron is ready with Craig and going to get his take on the race today.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm here with the number 3 out of the XC1 field, Craig DeLong. Man, an impressive ride, really right from the jump. We saw the fight through those first couple of corners and just seemed like you were revitalized all throughout this moto. Kind of take us through summer break and what the game plan was coming in here in round 10.
Yeah, it definitely revitalized is the word for sure. I wasn't in a good place earlier in the year for some reason. I was just down and just wasn't myself. So I took a break and I found that fire again, and it felt good. It's been a while since I've been disappointed like this, how I am, and it feels good, honestly. Ran out of time there a little bit. Some lappers kind of got in the way, and I kind of missed that. I wanted to be on Liam's wheel. I was going to try to run it in on him here at the end, and yeah, just got a little bit of, I guess, a little bit of help from lappers and kind of helped me back a little bit. So, all in all, I feel good. I feel like I rode good. The middle of the race, I feel like I need to improve on, but man, it was fun. Just being in the mix, being up front, with Ben the first lap, and I got those like butterflies in my stomach. Everyone right behind you, so that felt good. So, all in all, I guess 4th place is okay, or 4th, 5th. I don't know what I got, but I guess it's a step in the right direction.
Hey, he's fired back up and he's ready to come out swinging for those final 3. Final step on the XC1 podium. A great ride from Craig DeLong.
Craig DeLong starting to sound like the championship Craig DeLong
he did.
a few years ago with a chip on his shoulder saying, I don't know what I got 4th, 5th, but it's a step in the right direction. Craig, 3rd in XC1. Yeah. I know you guys care about the overall. 4th place in the overall. A great ride for him today and very much in the fight through the entirety of the near 3 hours of racing with a completion, actually over 3 hours, 3 hours, 2 minutes for Grant Davis.
Yeah, we had a little bonus racing today. You guys got 2 minutes for free on Racer TV. Well, it was all free, but nonetheless, take a look at the Specialized Race recap. What a day. There is Dad. We did get some confirmation. Sounds like Stu did, in fact, run out of gas before that one was said and done. Well, row number 1, the top 20, or those representing the top 20, going toe-to-toe. And how about this? Grant Davis goes down just before the woods, will be 20th place. I think technically I'd be like 16th place, 15th place of the 20 riders, but nonetheless was at the back of the pack and had his work cut out for him, Johnny.
Yeah, he definitely put himself in a bad position, then had to go into the woods, stop at the very first tree and straighten out the handlebars, and then charge from there all the way back to the front throughout the entire race. But an absolute dogfight up front. Craig DeLong pushing the pace. Stu Baylor out front. Craig in the number 2 spot. This is where things got interesting. Stu Baylor, some debris in the goggles, we were told, stopping much earlier than anticipated for that pit, setting him off sequence, ultimately running him out of fuel when he was running up inside the top 5.
Ooh, and this went a little love tap. Grant Davis letting Stu Baylor know a couple of times, I'm right here, and Stu Baylor saying, maybe not yet, young man. Let's give it some time. But just resilient was Grant Davis, hanging in there with those guys.
This is where the rest of the riders came in for their fuel stops. Stu Baylor obviously bypassing, making some passes, getting up to the number 2 spot behind Liam Draper, and then Grant Baylor putting in one heck of a charge.
Yes,
but this is where things kind of came off the rails for Grant when he did stop for fuel, just never able to match the pace that he had going. Couldn't quite get back up into those lead positions. This was the battle for the lead. Liam Draper had it. Stu Baylor wanted it. Then Stu Baylor had it. and Grant Davis wanted it, and they were just back and forth. Grant Davis all over pushing Stu Baylor through those corners, and eventually coming through, getting the white flag, and then making this pass right here. We see Stu Baylor dabbing that right foot very hard, and if you see very gingerly through this corner, looking like he's not exactly sure what's going on, Grant Davis starting to open up a lead over now second-place rider Liam Draper.
Yeah, I would say after that, the little get off there or the bobble, I guess I should say, by Stu. It was the Grant Davis show after this. Captures his third overall win of the season. And more importantly, Johnny is going to give himself a points lead over Ben Kelly, who finished out the day, right there, in 6th place. I spoke too soon. So, not the best day for Ben, but your top 10 there, Davis, Ashburn, and Draper, your top 3. We talked to Greg DeLong. We'll take 3rd in the XC1, 4th in the OA, Ben Kelly 6th. Strang, solid day, 7th. Mike Wachowski behind him, Angus Reardon, and KR, Caleb Russell, going to round out that top 10. Johnny, this was this whole weekend. I mean, ATV racing to close out was crazy with Merritt and Bryson Neal. You fast forward to today, and we got another heavy dose of that. I think if you look at this race, you look back on it, if you just look at timing and scoring, you're like, wow, Grant, stuck it to him. Not the case. I mean, this was a dogfight between, about 4 different guys for the lead all day.
Yeah, I mean, so many riders just locked in a battle for that lead position. Grant Davis getting it done in the final moments and really just proving to be strongest at the very end of the race. That's the only time we saw a gap out front really all day long, holding it to the finish line, winning by over 20 seconds over Jordan Ashburn in the number 2 spot.
Crazy stuff. Boy, a solid day. Johnny, big takeaway from today.
More things change, the more they stay the same. We mixed up the start order, but Grant Davis still gets to the front. The first rider to win 3 races in 2025, now wrestling back away the overall championship points lead away from Ben Kelly with the win today. Ben Kelly finishing up in the number 6 spot. Yep. And I think my other big takeaway is just close racing on a very challenging track.
That's it.
And I got to give a shout out to the old dog, Josh Strang, coming through in the number 7 spot, charging late in the race, making up time, making up positions, and showing that factory beta is in fact the weapon, and they are here to race.
My big takeaway, a lot of debate online and amongst people of how is this going to work, putting the top 20 on row number 1. I loved it. I loved it. That was incredible racing to just watch mano a mano battling between those top guys this late in the season. How will it look in the future? I don't know. But I also will say I hope and I think that this championship race comes down to Ironman at the end of the year.
It's sure looking like it.
It's going to be a good one. That is going to wrap things up for us here. We'll take a look at our Racer TV schedule coming up for the next coming weeks. Not the rest of the season, but the coming weeks. We got the Mountaineer coming up next. That's going to be September 20th and 21st. And then, of course, the nation's opening ceremonies. Racer TV getting a little love right there. That's going to be taking place October 3rd up there at Ironman Raceway. And then we'll be back to GNCC for round number 12. We head to southeastern Ohio for the John Penton on 10/11. By the way, that's my birthday. I turned 40, and I wear a size extra large in whiskey. Just throw that out there right now. On behalf of Jackson Burrell, Zach Hare, and Johnny Gallagher, our camera operators, Josh, Adam, Leah, Adam, Kirsten, Mike, and John, our drone pilot, Gabe Scholl, our manager, Dan Reinhart, our second engineer, Jack Renner, our engineer in charge, Jordan McFadden, our replay operator, Cameron Cotter, our director, Jack Renner, and a big hello back home to Don Hampton. We love you and we miss you. Our producer, Adam Gordon, and, of course, our executive producer, Scary Joe Russell. I'm Mikey Waynes, and you've been watching GNCC on RacerTV.com.